Jesus, this was madness. Right. Dread.
Yeah. Oh. Nearly ready to go.
Hopefully we're live already, mate.
Aha. Well, in that case, greetings, boys and gits.
Hopefully. I'm just...
I'll double check here.
Yeah.
Is Dwayne joining?
I don't know if Scar's going to be on. I've got no idea. Oh, we are. It appears that we are live. Let's have a look.
Ta-da! Well, there you go.
Hey, we are live.
I apologise in advance. Then there's no other gits to put us in line. It's just us two. So you know how it can be if it's just us the two. I've got the kettle on, and there's no one to tell me I can't boil it, and I can't make myself a cup of tea. It's only within arm's reach anyway. It's fine. It's fine. No biggie. Yeah. So you've only just said goodbye to Scar, have you?
Yes, Scar. Well, Scar's. I dropped Scar at the airport at about sort of what time would it have been? About 5ish. He's probably back in Dublin now.
Yeah, he's got back. Yeah, he's
I don't know if he's jumping in. He might jump in. I've left.
For those viewers that don't know, we've been having the Warboss meet 2024.
Yeah.
And Scar's just taken his flight back from spending a couple of extra days over with Dim and Drunken Ork as well. You've been meeting up with him, haven't you?
Yeah. We met up with him on Saturday when he went to the hobby store to collect his fancy Stomper box with the delightful, amazing new Big Mech miniature.
Did he unbox it with you there? Did he?
No. I had a look at the picture on the back of the box, and I'm still unimpressed. I still dislike it immensely. But it was a very good value box. I mean, I suspected it was going to sell out. I suspect it was designed to sell out, and I suspect it was either it was just to shift the old Stomper stock, which is what I think it probably was for.
Well, they've proven that already because they haven't done anything with the points on it, apparently. So if the Stomper's still the same points, then it's not because they want to make it more playable. It's just that they have, like you say, the old stock they're just getting rid of.
Well, they like to do this thing where they make a box set that if you know the ecosystem around Games Workshop's prices, you're going to look at that and see an immense bargain. And me, a long-suffering person who's had to put up with Games Workshop for a very long time, immediately gets cynical. It's like, hang on a minute, this is the company that once sold a chapter of Space Marine miniatures for £6,109.94.
Yeah, it's not like the criticism's not
I've
valid.
I've got the specific numbers wrong. I know I have, but it was around that. It was about £100 odd to the pound to the penny. And you're thinking if someone's buying a whole chapter off you, you could probably knock that £101 and a penny off. And GW responded to that, and do you know how they responded to that? They got rid of the bundle.
Very big.
They didn't go, oh yeah, we'll knock that £101 off. That's good feedback. We'll do that. That sounds like a great idea. It's like, no. That wasn't meant as a discount buy. That was a bundle to save you time.
Yeah, actually, I remember that. Yeah. I remember that.
The one-click collections they were. I mean, since then, GW have got a little better at this, of giving you a little bit of value, but we always snap them up.
Besides Sid getting his army box and the Codex, what else was bought that day? Codex, yeah. What else was?
He got the data cards as well. I think the data cards is about the main thing that I thought. Oh yeah, nice. I mean,
did you buy anything?
I did buy a GW miniature whilst I was there, but it was nothing to do with Orcs. I bought a Tyrannid model that I've had my eye on for a while, the Neurolictor. I have a snaky Nid army, and that will be very, very easy to snakeify because its tail is already doing kind of a wraparound.
Did you have much of a look at those ones that I asked Scar to take a picture of for me? The Victorix.
The Victrix.
Victrix, that's it.
Yeah. I don't really look at historical stuff all that much, which is kind of sad, really, because a friend of mine gave me a whole saga rule set, which is like, I think you would quite like it because it's a skirmish game with various Dark Age warbands. So you make a skirmish warband of various Dark Age factions. So you've got you've got your Vikings, you've got your Picts, you've got some Saxons and Danes and stuff like that.
Yeah, that sounds like it's up my alley.
Yeah, I'll next time you visit, you can probably just have the rulebook, to be honest, because I don't think I'm ever going to use it for much. See who we've got in the chat. We've got Zen, we've got Mr. Zen, Dr. Zen. How you doing, buddy? Sai, hello Sai. Wah. Tommy, wah. Rock Lobster, wah. We're getting a lot of wahs. Good. Oh, hi, Dyson. Yeah.
Wow. Now you've had a couple of days to sort of come back to yourself after the big Warboss meet. How did you find it on reflection?
Yeah, there's some we can't talk about because we've been sworn to not spoil things.
Yeah, obviously.
I'm quite pleased with how it turned out for me.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the games.
I did too. I enjoyed each and every one.
I was a little bit bemused by some of your teasing of me forgetting how the WoW rule works. That bemused me a bit.
Well, it's only because Tim.
Oh no, I know you were trying to help me. I know. It was just the teasing I didn't like. That's all.
All right. I was just like, well, at the end of the day, if you.
Yeah, but the thing was, because I kept making the same mistake. By the time I got to call it, it was too late to use. Because I mean, I get your point. It would have been more efficient to call at the start, so I get the benefit during your turn because you went first, right? But by the end of it, I had so few units anyway that even if I did get a full turn out of it, the game had already been decided.
You were reminded, it was like turn 2 that you was actually trying to call it. It was actually the end of my turn 2 and the beginning of your turn 2, and you was like, "Oh, I'm going to call it a while now." I was like, "Well, you should have done it at the beginning of my turn." And he was like, "Well, carry."
I did get a slight kind of it.
But you could have called it straight away at the end of that turn when it rolled into my turn. You could have called it for turn 3, but you didn't. You just sat on it till turn 5. I was like, "What are you doing then?"
Yeah, although I will say, like, I did kind of get the impression that you were not too keen with me doing it halfway through, which
I don't care when you do it. Just do it properly.
Yeah. Okay, when you do it, just do it the only time it's valid.
Just do it when it's right. Just do it properly.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Hang on 2 seconds. I've just got to turn this boiling kettle off. Oil's over.
Yeah, I am going to be reading the comments, and seeing as Dread isn't going to interrupt me at the moment. Although, that was a small window.
You interact with the community while I make a cup of
Yeah, shut the fuck up then. The new boys kit is like the new knobs kit used in every box set for the foreseeable future. Hope I'm wrong. And Disney's going to hope you can hope all you want. Yeah. Well. Yeah, I think that's going to happen quite a lot because I think that's the only time they do sell them, apart from to people who don't know better. Although, who was making the point? Oh, it was Plum and Sai, wasn't it? Sai was making the point to me today that you don't ever see the old boys kit in photographs. It's always the new boys. I sort of get some of it because I think what I want is I want a kit with the amount of options that the old boys kit once has, but I want posing like the new boys because getting rid of that stupid arch forward back. I'm not going to miss that about Ork models. I'm not going to lie. Says someone who runs mostly Gretchen. But we've got some things to talk about, don't we?
That boys kit is the voice from beyond. That boys kit. The thing is that I said when that came out, I said there's no point in going out and buying that box if you don't own it. Don't bother getting it because you're going to end up with it anyway. Because that's exactly that point. Is you will end up with it.
Yeah.
One way or another.
Yeah. So Rock Lobster saying rip 90% of Forge World units for competitive non-Legends games. Oh yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? That all of the Forge World stuff went Legends. I suspected this would happen. I think they are probably just shoving the resin production back to making the really big things that would be a stink if they stopped. So I think they're gonna. That's why the Gargantuan is staying where it is, and that's why the I don't think the Titans are going anywhere. I think they'll continue to make those. They'll go back to kind of what Forge World was for when it started. It was for decorative pieces that you weren't going to use and for big things they couldn't make in plastic. And I think that's kind of sensible. The problem is that, because Games Workshop has spent so much time trying to train its current audience, shall we say, into being a tournament audience, principally, that thinking that tournaments are the peak, and tournaments are the games that you should be playing, and that you should be using the official rules, and you should always use the official rules, because even if you're not at a tournament, next week you might be, to then go, right, okay, well, a massive amount of our range is now not playable at tournaments, is a fucking stupid move. Which would have been avoided if they had remembered that they have other parts of the audience that don't give a shit about tournaments, like, say, me. Personally, I don't really care if it's Legends or not Legends. I mean, I want.
Go on. I was going to say there is a decent amount of backlash though, so they do know, because there is a lot of. I've noticed even just going through YouTube just in the last couple of days, there is a good few YouTubers that are going, look, I'm sick of this. I don't like their behaviour. There's a lot of, and there was the last time round, and there is every time round that they keep changing things. And they're influential YouTubers too. They're people with big followings that are turning around and just saying, I'm looking at other games. Even
Valrak threw his toys out the pram. That's when you know it's bad. Shill number 1 is going, oh, fuck. How dare you?
It's not to say, I think the important thing to say is that, my position on these things is that I love orcs. That is the most important thing to state, is that I love orcs, and that's never going to change. And I'm going to continue collecting and building my orc army forever and always, because I love them. But I do think that Games Workshop's behaviour is really not. And it's fine if you're new to this and you can put up with the way they behave because you don't really see it. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't be into it at all. And for those that are happy to put up with it, who've been putting up with it for a long time, cool, happy. But it's just not for me anymore in that sense. But I still love my hobby. So I'm still going to collect my orcs, and I'm still going to do my orcs. I'm just not really into or don't care so much about what's going on with GW at the moment, because I see it as it's very temporary anyway. I think that things will either get better or they won't. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Eventually it'll either be brilliant again and it will change hands and it will either become something owned entirely by the community or some new that's really wishful thinking, but some new executives might come in that are halfway decent or whatever. But they might not.
No. I'm with you. I'm with you in the desire, Dread. I just don't think it'll happen.
Yeah, it probably won't.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that. I still love my hobby. It's not going to change anything. So when I talk negative a bit about Games Workshop, I just want it to be known. It's not because I despise the hobby. I don't. I love it. Absolutely love it. And that my aim going forward is to try and encourage people that feel a little bit despondent, a little bit upset, a little bit let down, a little bit, all of those things. Help them to realise that there are other people like them, like me, who still want to do this, but just without so much influence from GW. And I think it's really helpful and I think it's really healthy if we can all, as a community, as a wider community of people that do this, is instead of giving up our YouTube channels or giving up doing the hobby altogether and stuff like that, is to actually start finding ways of making it work and show others how we've made it work, because that will encourage others to go, oh, I'm not alone. And there are people still doing this and playing it with other rules or doing other things with it, and I think that's a good focus going forward. That's what I'm going to sort of do. So although I am going to moan a little bit sometimes and here and then, I still love this, I still really do love this.
I mean, mirroring that to some degree, yeah. I too, even myself, want Games Workshop to get better. The issue that I have probably is that the better, to some people it is getting better, but I'm not those people.
Yeah.
I am getting a little bit worried by some of the discourse that's occurring. I noticed a lot of this around the Primaris discussion that was happening a while ago.
Well, if you don't like it,
well, no, it's just like there's a very ableist attitude in the undercurrent of a lot of that, and I know some people are not going to like me using the word ableist, but there's kind of a thing of like the hobby is only for the contented and the happy, and that all the other people should just shut up. And it's just like, no. The hobby is for the people who are in it. It doesn't matter whether or not they're all fucking happy all the time.
Well,
I think it's perfectly reasonable to be unhappy about stuff. I'm unhappy
now,
about it a lot of the time, and that's unfortunate. But that's why I'm largely not playing much 40k.
not to give anything away about what happened during the league, but I would say that the way that we played 40k when we had our league at the boss report, the way that Steve-O had laid it out with the missions being much more simplified. It was just objectives, and there was how many? 3 objectives, and they're all in the center field, and you're in a corner each, and you've got to move out and take those.
And you
and
get
then there's
points.
skill,
Yeah.
and there's skill points. And we didn't have secondaries, which I think really bloke the game. And it was great fun. I think, there are issues with that rule set and some of the way that turns work and stuff like this. But on the whole, we got the hang of it pretty quick, and we was having some fun games. There were twists and turns. It's not like they were completely dull and completely predictable. There was some silly stuff that goes on, some things that you go, the dynamic of how that works isn't as good as it could be. But they flowed, we played, we had a laugh. So, there is stuff to be said about it that's positive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I enjoyed the games. We should probably talk about the meet a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of comments to catch up on. We will talk about the meet in a bit, I think. Just like,
Go on, comment.
Because the chat are still talking about the same thing, so we'll. BC's saying the Custodes are also staying because that's half their army. Anything smaller than a Stomper goes bye-bye, probably. Yeah, I think so. Sci-fi saying no bike is limited to mob size free, insert expletives here. Also get stuffed with such things. I mean, yeah. I'm getting this quite a lot, though, is that, like, GW are very restrictive in some areas with a lot of data sheets. And a lot of the argument seem to be is it's all about being consistent with the kits and stuff. But there's certain things where they've omitted the literalness of the kits that you get for the sake of gameplay. So if they can do it in one way, why can't they do it for the other? Like, the thing I'm thinking immediately of is the Grot Mega Tank. The Grot Mega Tank's options have been compromised. Now, I will say this. When I played the games at the meet, I was running 2 Grot Megas, and those Grot weapons were useful. I don't really think they ever did all that much, except when I was playing some of the more hardy players. Like, it came into a little bit when I was fighting Scar, because he was running a lot of stuff, like a lot of Storm Boys particularly. And it came into some use when I was playing against Sid, because I needed to clutch at every bloody straw to face off against his Beast Naggers list. It wasn't super useful against Dread. And it wasn't super useful against Steve-O, because Death Dreads. Death Dreads were a problem.
How dare you run more well? I mean, you are the Grot man, but I was going trackless and you end up with more Grot tanks than me. How did that happen?
Because Grot lists, like, there's only so many units I can take, and I don't like cans. So if you need support and you're a Grot player, you've not really got much options. You've only got Grot tanks and cans. And now, if you're playing at a tournament, you can only take cans, which, well, thank God I don't go to them. That's all I can say.
I even had tracks on the bottom of a few of my Chopper Boys, my Slugger Boys.
Nope.
Had tracks on the bottom of a couple of Mad Mono wheels that were tracked. It was so tracked, but you still had more tracks than me.
Well, yeah, that's the advantage of taking Grot tanks. I had 12 Grot tanks, everybody. I had 12 Grot tanks. What was it? Oh, yeah, it was 8. So 3 units. So 2 units had 5 rockets. So that was 10 rockets in total. And then a unit of Scorchers. And everybody hated the Scorchers. I mean, turn up to an Ork meet with a unit of 5 Scorchers is just funny. They did a lot of gangbusters. The Grot Megas, they had one of them had a turret of 2 custom megas, so there was 4 custom mega. Well, 2 twin-linked custom mega blasters. They were kind of underwhelming, to be honest, but on occasions that they did hit, they did do some damage. I managed to do a decent amount of damage, but I'm finding this game to be very, very dicey. It's very dicey. Like, you're just rolling loads of dice for days, and most of the time doesn't really do anything. I noticed someone mentioned one-page rules.
Most of your time is spent over the dice tray.
Oh,
that is the game. Yeah, so you had even your mech and your gun were tracked as well, though, weren't they? So everything was tracked in a sense.
Yeah, well, I made it Grot Tank themed. So I had a tank, a Grot Tank Death Killer War Trike. There's pictures of that on my Instagram. It's also the Hobby Git, so you can have a look there. I've got pictures of it. I will be putting more pictures of the army up on the Instagram. I got a lot of praise for the
Grot Mega tank on my Instagram as well as it goes.
Yeah, I got a lot of praise for the painting on the Grot Mega, and I kind of hated it when I painted it. Started sort of.
I think it looks awesome, mate. Both of them.
Yeah, well, I was doing it dark blue and I resented it, and then I did a lighter blue over it, and it's. I'm still not 100% happy, but it fucking popped. I'm not gonna lie. They really became. Yeah. They dominated if you looked at the army as a whole, they really jumped out, which I do like. Because the idea of the sort of like little head cannon law I'm going with. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to get your comments. It's just the head cannon I'm kind of going with is that the sort of boaty like tanks that I'm going to have in my Grot's army are all naval themed largely, and then there's going to be sort of like a military side. I always did have like sort of 4 parts to sort of Rebel Grots when I did a Codex back in the day, and it was like the hammer, the sickle, the cutlass, and what the heck was the 4th one? It might have been the star. Oh yeah, it was the star. So the star was like the command. So it was like the Red Council, effectively, the committee, Red Gobbo, all of that stuff. Then you had the hammer, which was like the military side. You had the sickle, which was like the sort of Gretchen god cult side. I invented a god for them called Zork, who's like a Gretchen trickster god, basically, and has some darker elements like the Docs, because the Docs in a Rebel Grot society aren't doctors; they are sadists. And well, think Frankenstein. You're there, right? And then the Cutlass, which are just pirates, basically, but also a little bit of naval thrown in. And that's kind of the way I'm going with it, so that's why I painted them that way. I had a little bit of green and a little bit of blue going on. It looked all right when I was finished with it. So, where are we?
I was running 8 Grot tanks to your 12, but I was also running a battle wagon with tracks.
Could not kill that thing.
I did have a truck with tracks, but I chose to not run that one and run the one with wheels that was actually my conversion from the squid buggy, which was my first damaged casualty. In fact, I have it here somewhere. Where is it? It's just here. So the first casualty was this truck. So what happened to that was, it's not finished yet anyway, so it's fair enough, but it's a hard bit to put back on. So I've got the bit that hangs off that side.
I love the
bit that hangs off that side. Came off, and it's only holds on by 2 very, very small connections, and actually it looks like only one of them ever actually glued on properly. So
if you can find some very sneaky places where people aren't going to look,
up fine now. You could out fine now. I'm home. It's fine. It's just it was just difficult to do on the spot on the day without tools. But now I'll be fine. I'll use some plastic card or whatever.
I was going to say just add in some putty. Add in like a little bit of putty, or like
the other breakage I had while I was away.
Yeah.
Do you want to confess? No, I'll tell the audience then. Fine. Dim broke one of my models, guys. He broke, of all things, my Red Gobbo. My Red Gobbo conversion.
Oh, yeah, I knocked the gun off. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did I? Shit. You don't even remember. That's how much guilt you got. Fucking hell. Jesus.
Well, I felt
Don't
more.
ever
I felt
play him.
slightly more guilty about breaking Scar's Deathcopter. And
Well,
a plate.
that's only because he made you feel more guilty about it, but now I'm on your case.
There's a lot of me, and it's a very clumsy lot of me. So yeah.
Yes, clumsy.
For
Yes.
someone who works in a ward and doesn't have accidents, that's the thing that depresses me. Is that when I'm playing
On
games,
the very first
fuck up all
night
the
when we
time.
got there, we got takeaway guys, right? We got kebabs and pizzas delivered. And we put it all up on the kitchen. Everyone get a plate. Everyone starts putting stuff on their plate. And what's Dim do? Fucking loads his plate up and then drops the fucking thing on the floor. Not only on the floor, drops it. And as I was down low, it actually hit my hand before it hit the floor.
Diddums.
So it almost cracked Dred's poor, fragile little hand and everything. Awful.
See, now we're getting to the root of why he's upset about it, right? Because it personally affected him. You know.
Wow.
F's in chat. F's in chat. Right. Speaking of chat, right? We need to get caught up on this, Dread. We're getting left behind. Right. Yes, I get a lot more of the new. So Disney saying yes, I get a lot more of the new boys than I will ever need. Never bought that kit. It was always in the bundle with other stuff. Yeah. Maybe time will come when we all play Warhammer Legends like people play Horus Heresy. See, here's the thing, right? Is I think that the problem we have is that the tournament culture is in control, and that they've always had a big influence since 4th Ed, really, but they've never had this much control before, and I think it's showing, and I think we've lost a lot from the hobby as a result, and I think the negatives are really starting to come to the surface quite a lot, and with increasing frequency. Now, I actually don't think the Legends are as much of a negative as they necessarily can be. I mean, yes, I do think that they are there to die and to disappear eventually. And I do think that's shit, and I don't think it's right that they'll make them go away. Like, I'm very much on the front of, if you buy a good, you should have it forever. And you should have a reasonable opportunity to repair it and fix it. I'm on that side, so I don't think it is reasonable for GW to go, well, you know, it's we as a business, you know, no, you as a business shouldn't make things like that and make them in the way that you do and make them necessary in the way that you make them necessary if you are wanting to remove that service. That considering you're sticking around being the service, you're being the same service, then, you know, that is unreasonable. And probably the reason why GW does legacy rules is probably because there is some legal teeth in, you know, that can be thrown at them if they don't. My issue is more when they fuck it up. Now, I'm perfectly fine to get like a set of Legends rules that are not super competitive, but they're a little bit interesting and some thought and passion went into them. That's fine. More crucially because, you know, they're a free PDF. That's good. You don't have to buy another thing to continue to use the thing that you bought. That I like. And also the other thing is that I really do think as a culture we need to get over this idea that you must use official things, this officialdom culture, and that the tournament scene being the norm, right? Here's the thing, right? Most people in the hobby should be using Legends units. They should continue to use Legends units, and they should use them in any game that they want to use them in. End of story. The tournament people can go fucking jump. Don't give them that. Don't give them that
how
control.
We move the broader focus of the wargaming community as a whole away from that. How that trend is broken. It's not something I can quite see how it's going to happen. I see us spiraling more in that direction first before it actually recovers. But yeah, I think it's only because. Well, I think a lot of it is because there isn't that support that there was when we got into the hobby. So people that are coming into it now and just like it for what it is now, don't appreciate how much more there is to it and how much more enjoyable it is if the focus is on those things rather than the other things. So they don't know how much more they would enjoy their hobby because they've never had that, if you get me. Whereas if the focus was more as it was before, I think people would enjoy it. I'd also think, do you know what? When you've got like something, I was just thinking to myself, other sports or other things, when they become big, they get taken over and they become more and more and more of a capitalist commercial thing. Just look at football. I mean, mainstream football nowadays, it's just all business and statistics and
rampant
you know,
cheating that isn't enforced against
yeah,
at all.
yeah, and but it's where all the cameras are on everything, and it's like, you know, whereas some people that used to like some of the big teams don't even follow them anymore, and they just go and watch their local teams because they just prefer it more simple and more, you know, more basic. And I think, yeah, it's a very similar thing with what's happening with wargaming. Is it's becoming this thing that is trying to become so big that it's becoming this big commercial outlet. Everyone's worried about the stats and the numbers, and it's like, okay, well, that's not where, you know, that's where this train and me depart a little bit. I'm not into that, so I'm going to be more wanting to linger around the more friendly side of it, you know.
Well, also the other thing is, well, yeah, you get those people wearing dart shirts. But it's a very lucrative thing for Games Workshop to do, because they're so big now that they've got an ecosystem of micro business around their business, where people make money from being involved in the process, and that's good for GW because it gives them free advertising, and obviously GW being GW, they want to shove their big corporate dick in and make them say what they want them to all the time, the MDAs, which have already been mentioned in the comments. Like, this is kind of a thing of, like, these people will toe the line, and I think that's why they like the tournament scene, because the tournament scene is giving them free play testing. The tournament scene, because it's full of a lot of people who are very dedicated to playing the game, they're not going to keep their mouth shut, so they're obviously a lot of the people giving the feedback back to them.
They lean into those sorts of YouTubers because they fit the business model being that we would rather make people, as I said about 3 or 4 years ago now, we'd rather focus on, or we've discovered that the best way to sell our miniatures is by changing the rules, not by the miniatures. You know, they've proven that to themselves, so that's what they do now. So they're going to support people who can make a following, and just at a whim of saying, this is the new hotness, you should get this plays really well now, people will go out and buy that, because that's much better control. Because if you have a focus on just making miniatures that you think are cool, which they did in the past, you end up with situations where you've got thousands of stompers stuck on a shelf, and we don't know what to do with them in a stockroom somewhere.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you make the rules, either the deal cool or the rules cool, you know you can sell it, you've got much easier control over your stock, because it's not whether it's actually got merit, the thing, it's whether it's got merit in game. And so that will control your sales. And they've worked out and figured that that actually does work for them, that business model. So that's what they're pushing. And so they'll much rather support people.
It's also the live service model. They've just looked at what the computer gaming industry has done. So the computing gaming industry saw that there was a lot of money in competitive esports, and they saw that, you know, businesses were selling their product as a service. And incidentally, some interesting legal wrangles about if you sell something as a service rather than a good, there are less rights on services than goods. So you can see the corporate cogs going, all right, we can make a thing that constantly requires money and feedback, but also we can just pull the rug anytime, and, you know, whether it was success or fail, it doesn't matter, we made money. Some interesting issues there. And probably a lot of the business side of Games Workshop, a lot of those people are coming from that industry, so they're coming with those biases. So that's why you're seeing it. I don't think it's going to work long term for them, because their audience has always been a broader church than that, and that audience needs to be catered to. Still, they do. You do want to listen to the competitive scene from time to time, especially if you're trying to make a tighter rule set. They're a very good audience to listen to, but at the same time, they shouldn't be the only audience that you listen to. And I think that's a thing that Games Workshop has probably been quite guilty of in the past. I do have my wonders about which parts to listen to or which parts they're able to listen to. It's probably easier for them to justify to the higher-ups listening to the competitive scene, because obviously the higher-ups are people who, you know, coming from industries where esports drives game design. So that might not be surprising. But I don't know. I just think that when you're dealing with a creative hobby, you can't forget that a part of that has to be creative. And when you are making a business and you're making games designed around just selling your personal creativity, if you hire people off the street who, frankly, don't have qualifications, and GW boasts about that, when they advertise for new people to come in, you can read it. You can read it on their website. You can read about how they're only interested in your covering letter.
Well, see,
You can read their training documents, which tell you that they're more interested in attitude rather than ability. So
what they have decided they are now is a game, and they are selling that game. And they keep insisting they're a model company, but they seem to be more interested in following tournament players and building a game around them. So they are defining it more as that. Whereas I think in the past, they were monetizing people's imagination, which I think was far more lucrative, in my opinion. Anyway, as I could imagine it, I used to think, even as a kid, that's incredible. What they've done is they're making money out of people's endless imagination. That's just great. And then they started closing it down and closing it down and closing it down and closing it down. And they're like, well, that's dumb. I don't think that's a very smart thing to do. But anyway, I really do think we should move off of the subject of DW bashing. Stay on target a little bit.
Let's keep doing it.
Do you know what?
I want to get through a few more comments, so we'll add a few more comments and we'll bounce off.
Dear audience, I also broke on the so Dim broke my grot. I also had that truck, but then also on the way home, when even Steve-O's driving with his van, it was loading it between his van and into my car and getting it back here. My Mechtown thing, this broke off a bit. It's actually in 3 bits now as well. It's the craney bit snapped.
I mean, to be honest, that bit was loose when we were playing games.
Yeah, it was. I left it loose so it could be lifted off and blah blah blah. But now it's actually snapped in 3 places. So
fun.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to quickly do some comments, and we'll get caught up to where the comments actually are because we're behind.
Can you read and speak at the same time?
Yeah. Right. I was waiting for you to be done. Right. Okay. If you want a second, BC saying as a side note, if you want a second big track or just a proxy for one, 1/5 Tamiya Marder 3. There's enough room for 2 boys on the firing deck. Nice. There was a lot of people sort of saying hopefully things will get made into plastic, like say the grot tanks and like mourning the loss of the big track and stuff. I have a feeling some of that almost certainly will, especially the stuff that's CAD designed. I think it's likely, because I mean, basically, it's not like there isn't already a few things in the Ork range that are basically just recycled old CAD designs. Hello, Defcopters. You know, they were made like the old ones with a piece of tracing paper, and you can tell. And not necessarily that's a bad thing, because, I mean, having them fit in with the old Defcopters is quite a nice decision coming from Games Workshop, because sometimes they like to invalidate old designs. They do that a lot in Blood Bowl, by the way. But I have a feeling that if we don't get the big track, we're going to get something like the big track eventually. I'm hoping for more vehicles next time Orcs get a release. I think it's a thing that we need. We need a few mid-range vehicles. We also need things that are dedicated to being tanks. It's nice. It's all well and good keep giving us bloody transports, but we need something that isn't a transport. We need something that has a mid-range gun. To be honest, we could do with... I mean, almost every orc vehicle is almost always a transport as well as a nasty gun. I don't think we've ever had an edition where that's been different. But I'd like to see the speedsters come back personally.
I would like a middleweight tank, something like equivalent to a Lehman Russ, but orky.
Bow bursters get we've got them. You just go to Epic.
Yeah,
a lot of those are battle wagons, but I mean some of them are smaller than the principal battle wagon nature that they sold in Epics, so it just depends. But the Speedster, for instance, we could have the Speedster. Evil Sons players could probably do with a bit of love, considering they've lost a lot of things this edition. A lot of Forge World was holding up the slack of being able to take dedicated biker armies, and I know GW are now trying to refactor this thing that the Death Killer Wartrike. It's your biker boss. I very much felt that when I read the rules and realised the only good rule that the Death Killer Wartrike has benefits bikes that I don't have. So that was kind of a bit disappointing to some extent. But I do think they will do some things in plastic. I'd be very surprised if we don't get Grot Tanks at some point, because there was such a big sell for Forge World.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And I would like to see them cheaper, because at the end of the day, even Cromlech are getting to delusional levels of pricing for those things. And as cool as Grot Tanks are, they're kit bashable. I think that might be the reason why, if they don't come back, don't be surprised, because they're very easy for an Orc player to make without giving Games Workshop any money.
Can I just ask the audience to answer a question in the comments at some stage? There is the Gargantuan Squiggoth. Apparently, that's not been omitted, and everything else has been. But it is.
I can answer that.
Yeah. So does that mean it's actually in this Codex book?
No, it's not in the. I doubt it's in the Codex.
Right.
I don't know.
So,
but
it's just been removed from the Forge World website.
No, it's been made into Legends.
It's been made in,
so presumably there's going to be an Imperial Armor, but presumably Imperial Armor is going to have a smaller amount of things in it, because they're discontinuing a bunch of ranges, which, to be honest, was on the cards. Forge World is dead.
If there's only one Orc miniature, well, it's not a miniature, but there's only one Orc model that is actually made by Forge World now that is available and you can play, then why didn't they just fold it into the Codex?
What had a pair of yous bleeding complaining about that?
Why don't they be a separate
I'm only back home and you're already bleeding, moaning about something. For the love of Christ. Literally, straight off the plane, straight in the car, down to the off license, in the door, and already...
We're
so cheery. We're so cheery. Yeah. I do want to get to Tommy Mac's comment though. Right, so Tommy was saying,
comment. Come on, we'll start swinging.
I've spent money on GW Plastic, but I refuse to buy anything book card wise now. I'm burnt out by it. I'll happily play older editions of
which is an understandable standpoint. I can understand that with people being bored out. I get that.
The Codex was invalidated before it even hit the shelves.
Oh yeah, so
doesn't of them have like literal foreign language pages that are a massive error that should have been caught. That book is not worth money, and they should not be charging money for it. Nobody should buy it.
That's an old system.
That's an old GW bag. That's an old bag that I got off of Sci-Fi. So here.
Oh, Gorka Walker stuff. Oh, you lucky bastard.
The next time we're playing Gorka Walker, I have acquired some bits. There's a few second-hand bits. What have we got? Ork biker components. So old that the bleeding foam is disintegrating.
Oh, you bastard. Sexy.
Boys with blunderbusses. We've boys with cannons. Ork boys with shooters. What else have we got? Ork boys with cannons. Loads of bits and pieces. That's right. You give me second-hand Stone Boys. So I have Stone Boys for a second-hand army. There's 5 of them. These have been stashed away in Dim's gaff for years.
I'm jealous of them biker bits. I've got most of those other things, but I don't have those biker bits. That's
Stone Boys. What else have we got?
They're just like back banner.
Hand weapons. We've leading loads.
What's in that biker one that you've already put down with the banner pole in it?
It's got like the gun arm and the banner pole and the torso and stuff like that to put on the old
oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember it.
I think I've 1 or 2 of them knocking around as well. I can convert. What else have I got here?
Nice.
Heavy weapons, boys. More second aid. What's this one? This is more heavy weapons.
And he was sitting back with his yeah.
And then last but not least, more Stone Boys. So there you go. I'm getting a head start on the old Gorka Marker for the next meal.
Very nice. That's a well tasty of all that is.
It is indeed, Jesus.
Have you heard of
Oh, that
Lord
metal.
and Saviour Dystopian Wars? That's what I'm working on today.
Have you tried it yet? Have you tried the Dystopian Wars or what's up?
No, I've been reading the rulebook. It looks quite fun, to be honest.
I have to say I was well jealous of Sid picking up that big the mech box set when we went to the hobby store with him when he was picking it up, and yeah, Jesus, the size of it, man, massive.
Well, I mean, it would have to be. It's got the Stomper kit in it.
Yeah, this is what I was thinking. It's made me think of, if I was still super invested as such. I'm not really. Like, I am a filthy 40k casual when it comes to the gaming side of it. But, you know what I mean? So I'm not too heartbroken. But if you are someone who didn't manage to get a pre-order in and trying to buy it off your local game store, like, I asked them, I was like, do you have any spare? There wasn't any codexes. All the codexes were gone by the time we showed up. All the box sets were sold 2 weeks beforehand. It's like, wow, I don't miss that. I don't miss wanting to get a hold of a box set and then just not being able to. Because I remember this happened the last time. What was the box set with the previous codex and the Squidcog boys? I ended up buying 2 of them in the end because I pre-ordered one with the local game store, and something happened. There was a mix-up there. Then I went to the GW to buy one, and I think they only had one left. So I ended up, to guarantee that I got one, I think I had to order there. Yeah, anyway, in the heel and the reel of it, with all this pre-order malarkey, with the fear of missing out, I ended up with 2 box sets of it, one of which I still haven't opened. So it reminded me of that, and I don't really like that. I don't like that whole rigmarole, that panic of not being able to get a box set and not even being able to buy the codex on the day it's released. Like, I'm not a fan of this. This is
GW monetizing feel of missing out. No, they'd never do that.
I would like to get that box. I really would. Only because of the fact that it's a decent discount. I mean, I wouldn't mind having another Stomper kit. I never built a Stomper, and I don't really like the Stomper, but I wouldn't mind the kit for bits.
Well, since somebody hates the Forge World Stomper, I'm going to have to make it my business to get mine made and painted next time we want a big battle. Yeah, whose fault's that one?
It's fucking terrible. I hate it.
The bleeding cheek of you. How bleeding dare you?
For the bargain aspect of that box, I'd want it if I had plenty of money and nothing that I needed. But I don't. I'm not in that situation, and to me, it just isn't enough of a draw because at the end of the day, Stompers have been around for a long time, and I never wanted to get a second one. I've got plenty of looters, burners, like loads of sprues anyway, so I don't need that sprue. I don't want the boy sprue again, so that just leaves that new mech, which I'll get eventually at some point anyway. So
I reckon he'd be 50 quid a pop or something like that, or £45. They'll ask for a chunk of money for him.
Probably will. But
I mean, that's the only thing I'd want myself, but it's
someone end up bloody
giving it to
me that don't want it anyway or something or other at some stage, so I ain't that fussed.
Yeah. It's not the end of the world. I'd be interested to have a look at the codex now that we've played a good few games and I got a feel for the army, the team army that he built. It's okay, Steve, no panic attacks. We won't talk about the games themselves or results. But it was fun building an army. I didn't get to build me Chinorks. I had to take a land of one. So I still want to build one, even just for the team. You know what I mean? Because I've started a team of an army and I have a few ideas of what I'd like to do. I'm liking the flame effects. I'd probably like to put in a unit of borders for the crack. I'd like to do a border bomber and do something with it, like launching a missile into the ground and not being the flying stand. I mean, they sound absolutely terrible to try and transport via flight in your baggage. But that's where I am with it. Like, you know what I mean? I'd like to try more hobby stuff that would look cool, you know, and not be a cheesy whore of a bastard with, you know, grot tanks with scorches. You know what I mean? The 2 main fucking culprits here, huh? The bleeding cheek of the Perius.
What?
Don't you want me?
I had them.
No, we won't talk about the games. We're not going to talk about the games. It's all right.
The thing is that those are the miniatures that I've been building and painting for ages. But I do I do once I've got the things that I still haven't finished totally the paint job on those things, so I'm still working on them, and I've got some commandos that are on a similar level of painted. So I want to get them things done. But once those things are done, the next two hobbies are exactly things that fit into that category. I've got my cans made out of trolls, to go with my dread made out of a troll. So they're sort of just a something cool project. And then the other something cool project is I've got a load of umis that I'm converting from lots of different bits and making my own sort of umis that are sort of like diggers in a sense, but they fit with my lore. And I'm going to have right fun with it because I've got quite a few of them now. And I'm going to do a biker squad. I'm going to have stand-ins for boys as well as knobs, as well as actually commandos. Because I was even looking at them today going, I could do a commando squad. Yeah, these guys are really good for that. So I've got quite a few different bits and bobs, so I can make out different units out of umis, which might be a bit weedy, but I think it'd be a bit of fun.
Yeah, I've a lot of interesting ideas for the Gorka Morka mobs. I think I'm going to be a cheeky here and try to build an original Gorka Morka mob with full original miniatures. I think I can pull it off. I think I've enough in my collection to pull it off. It'd be good crack. I mean, the mob will physically be, because if you use an old truck, like, it's small instead of a new one, but I think it'll look cool. It would look mint. Speaking of bikers, I found like 14 or 16 bikers while I was digging around for me Devcopters. I keep like finding bits and pieces, so that would be cool as well. Like a whole Outriders detachment. And like, sure, even there's like the places in bits before I left. I'm literally only in the door. Like, there's literally like biker sprues and everything everywhere. And I acquired more sprues that I've had for ages stashed in names I brought back with me. So I've loads of bits. Tons of bits and pieces, plenty to keep me busy. And then finishing touches on the Storm Boys. The stands on them are finished. Some of them needed a little bit of repair work. I think ideally you'd want to put a varnish on it because handling it seems to take the paint off. So they need a bit of TLC, a little bit of repair work. But
yeah, I've noticed that with my models, especially some of the metallics on rivets and stuff like that, have just rubbed off.
Yeah, from handling them, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They are wargaming pieces after all, which is why I'm not a fan of like super flamboyant miniatures, because in my eyes, I'm like, well, how am I supposed to transport this? You know what I mean? It says the man who like stuck Storm Boys on smoke plumes and made them 3 times the size they are in regards to transporting them. Like, literally half of me miniatures carry cases fucking Storm Boy bases.
Yeah, I think Grimdark is your friend if you're going to end up having to glue things back on. If you've got, I remember back in the day having things that are painted really light, and if you've got really light and vibrant stuff and something breaks, you're always going to notice where it's glued back together. You know, whereas if it's in a dark crevice or somewhere, you've got a chance of like gluing it in there, putting some black around it, getting away with it. Yeah. But it's not those things that break, is it? It's always the things that are hanging off of someone's fucking back or something like that.
Yeah, not a fan of banner poles. As awesome as they look, they break like nobody's business. Even this original WA banner knob, well, it's not like the first iteration of WA banner knobs, but this WA banner knob broke at like a weak point there and had to be pinned. But it's not.
That was one of the moves to Legends things that I found quite bewildering.
I'm not
in the codex, the
units anyway.
Yeah,
like,
but
the only
codex,
time I really play 40k is with you lads, so it doesn't bother me. But...
Yeah, I know, but in the codex, they've literally one of the formations that they're doing, and the codex is like the thing that the tournament players are supposed to buy and use, right? And you've got like a thing built around knobs, and
he means his cock.
Yeah. Well, I might as well, because you know. There's less knobs in the codex.
Less. As you can tell, I'm still sort of on a holiday buzz because I'm literally only back in off the plane. Yeah, we managed to get BattleTech in Dim's gaff as well. We got a game of BattleTech in.
Oh yeah,
it's good cracking.
Yeah, I got mulched multiple times.
Oh, and a game of Blood Bowl. Someone got their arses handed to them in the game of Blood Bowl.
I got hammered.
Me.
I got hammered with my unbeaten
You did. You
Undead,
tempted
Shovel
fate.
Undead
When you
team.
turn around and you told me at the start of this game, there's my unbeaten team. You tempted fate too much. That's what happened there.
He's asking for it. I'm going
It
to add
was
some
unbeaten.
patina. I've got 2 patina paints that I'm going to be adding to my. I'm working on my fuel station. I thought I'd add some more to the copper stuff because although it's got some, it hasn't got enough. And when it was on the tabletop, we didn't really notice it. So add some more patina. Some kitchen paper.
So if I said he exploded spectacularly in that BattleTech game, it was hilarious. It was brilliant. It was absolute carnage. The best type of BattleTech. Gary Hauser was saying use a silver Sharpie on the rivets for a quick touch-up.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Not bad. Keith was saying he still got his Gorka Marker boys. I do have actually more Gorka Marker stuff. I need to go diving into sheds and storage boxes to find all the bits and pieces. I went digging for stuff for this event, but I couldn't find everything I was looking for. I was hoping to have Zagstruct, but I couldn't find them. I know I've got at least 2 of them as well. That's what annoys me. I've my one, and I've got one I think I bought secondhand off of someone that's already painted. And I'd like to have a Zagstruct. And I'm pretty sure I've like another 60 Stormboys somewhere, Tour Dead ones. So I should be up to my eyeballs in Stormboys, like, you know.
Yeah. But damn it, I've lost my palette paper.
So I don't know what's happening with me. I think I'm just slowly edging towards like an all flying like Air Corps Apocalypse Army. That would be cool. Just fucking loads of Stormboys, Chin Orks, Deathcopter. Oh, I bought the new Deathcopter box set as well because I couldn't find the arms off of my Assault and Black Reach Deathcopters. But then Dim sorted me out with some arms off of some miniatures he donated. So then I ended up with the box set of the new ones as well. But I think I'll keep and I'll paint up the new ones as well. I'll paint them up in like military colors. That'll be cool. He said he found an unopened Gubbins bag in the loft last week. You hold on to that for me. I'll trade you a truck for it. You hold on to that for me now. Don't be giving it to any of them shower bastards. Definitely don't be giving it to Dread as much as he begs for it. Don't want to be hearing that. Gubbins bag. I'm not even going to tell you what a Gubbins bag is. That's how good it is.
Who's Gubbins bag?
Oh,
Who's giving it?
I'm not telling you. I'm deleting that comment. Sorry.
What happened with this stuff you had anyway? You had stuff that you was going to flog on to us, what? You're keeping it all now, are you?
They were given to Roxy, or it's been amalgamated into the box. I went on too long. Dame's spare room now has like twice as much space as it used to.
Yeah.
As most of my shite is now no longer in it.
Well, you say that there was some clothing in the washing machine when I checked it. So
mine or yours?
Yours.
Ah, is it still there?
Yeah, you have 2 odd socks.
Socks. Here, hold on. I thought you were going to break my heart and tell me that I left BattleTech t-shirts behind it. By the way,
no, you took the BattleTech t-shirts.
I've worn a BattleTech t-shirt every day in the while me, or the boss me.
Didn't notice. So used to you wearing them anyway.
I mean, I bought 30 of them in the first Kickstarter. Most of my wardrobe is BattleTech t-shirts. It's actually harder for me to find a t-shirt that isn't BattleTech to wear out. You know what I mean?
I've gone too heavy there. I've got this brush that is really fanned out. So I thought, oh yeah, that'd be good for streaks. But I just went on and I couldn't do it straight enough. It just doesn't look right.
Oh, I see what you mean. It's a bit of a wave effect.
Rob that
Don't know,
off.
Rock Lobster. Don't know if Roxy's found out yet.
Yes, she has.
All right, yeah.
So if I donated a truck, stop a chainsaw, arm sprayer, and start a plastic car for Roxy. You did, fair play. So you did throw some bits into it. Do not forget to post it to her, Dim.
It's the issue will be more financial.
Don't worry about that.
This month's going to be
send you
rough,
the
but
ones.
next month at least it'll be sent.
Find a suitable box is the first thing.
Yeah.
And go from there. What else have I got in my bag that I
It's
could
got
assemble?
it's got to get to safely, which means I'm more concerned really with finding the time to have the right amount of money that I can pay for a decent, safe, reliable shipping. So it might be a while before it gets shoved, and also I need to find where I put the. I need to find where I put the shit that I was given her, because I didn't take it down because basically I was thinking I couldn't remember where it was, and I thought, right, well, if I just volunteer to mail it, then I've got time. I've got time to find where the shit went.
Oh, the stuff that you're donating.
Yeah, and BC's going. They're not odd socks, Tim. He's got another pair of them in his luggage.
I mean, it sucks. It's all right. I'm
And
probably
Gary's going. This
use
is why
my ones.
all I buy is black socks. See, I also have that opinion. Yeah, just buy black socks, and you never have odd socks.
That point that Dwayne made about luggage at the airport, though, is buying a coloured luggage box that stands out. That stuck with me. I was like, I'm remembering that.
Well, that's a tip because I used to literally work in airport baggage claim back in the day because I was working in the airport in Ireland and then I transferred over to London because that was the position they had available was like baggage reclaim. And that was one of the things that I noticed straight away is the most common luggage in the world is like those soft black with the handle and the wheels. That is literally the most common luggage. So if that goes missing and you've no identification on it, and like the bag tag comes off, bag tags come off all the time, you're fucked. Because then you have to, then the baggage agents are trying to find your bag because it'll show up somewhere if it shows up, and someone has to go through your bag and then make a list of all the contents, and you tell them what contents you have, and then and you go through it, and then they'll request your bag to be sent over. But try and get a bag that's a bit distinct, like tie a ribbon around it or something, or something other than your label, and always get a receipt. If you can get a receipt for your baggage number, the number that they can trace for your tag, that'd be cool. If you can put your name somewhere in the bag or on the bag, a name tag, that's also useful. There you
Travel
go.
tips.
Travel
With
tips.
Scott here.
With Scare. Do not, for the love of God, do not put your passport in the little pocket in the seat in front of you. The amount of people that I used to have to go back onto aircraft to get their fucking passports back is just ridiculous. All right? It seems like a great idea. It's a fucking terrible idea. Don't put your passport there. There you go. That's it. And for the love of God, don't try and have a fag as soon as you get off the plane because, people will fucking lose it. I've had that happen before where I've literally had like a fuel truck full of aviation fuel and some board from France decided to have a fag right beside it under a no smoking sign. And I was just like, yoink, not today. Ne pas le fumer, s'il vous plaît. There you go. Work stories with Scare.
Do the French again?
Well, je comprends un petit peu, mais je ne parle bien. Ouais.
Very good.
Dred wouldn't know if it was accurate.
Well,
well,
I'd expect a fucking Del Boy sort of. What's the scene at the swimming pool? Where's the fucking. What's he speaking Spanish to her or something like
a
that?
French girl for a couple of years. I used to have French whispered in my ear all the time, but I don't remember too much.
Hey, mon petit chien. I had a French board myself, Dred. You're not the only one who got around, fucking.
Who said anything about getting around?
Well,
Just said.
Gary Hauser says Apple AirTag in your bag. I didn't know this was going to turn into travel tips with the Warbosses, but here we go. This is what breaks me heart, if I'm being honest with you, right? The best miniature case that Games Workshop have made.
No, it's not the current one.
It's the AirTag cases that won't show up. AirTag case. Great box. It's pretty much like a Pelican case. It's like GW's version of a Pelican case. It was great. Rubber seals on it. It's got like a a screw with a seal on it as well, so that you can take it off for traveling with air, so that the pressure normalizes in the hold of the aircraft. Best cases they ever did, and they discontinued them. It fucking breaks me heart. It does. They were brilliant. Didn't have as much carrying capacity as their biggest cases, but they were stronger. You know, I wish they made them again.
Yeah, it's probably just one of those one-time deals that they just had with some other company, though. They just put their branding on it, like you say, Pelican case or whatever.
They didn't sell well. They didn't sell many of them. I think they didn't market them well. But like Dim's local games, the workshop for ages had loads of them stuffed in the back, so I ended up buying a couple of them.
I think you bought all the ones they ever had. To be honest, I think you were the one you bought.
Well chuffed I was. I mean, when I went to buy them off of him, he was like, "I don't even have these. I didn't do itinerary anymore. They're due to be sent back to the HQ to be destroyed." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Was that the Savage? Was it the guy you lost?
Oh, no, the lad seemed all right. I don't know which one it was, but he was all right.
Yeah.
So if I was asking Pelican case, who needs a case for Pelicans? They can fly themselves. This is true, but Pelican cases are pretty much like these bulletproof monstrosities that generally people with like high-end camera gear use as cases for their like camera lenses that are like $1.50 or more. We thought air hobby was expensive. Try getting into cameras. One of my mates is, and he was telling me, and I was like, "Sweet Jesus!"
Yeah.
Oh, the horror.
Yeah, my nan's fella's into photography, and it's. Oof. I mean, he's got expensive hobbies, taste wise. He used to be into
he had a book, didn't he? He had like a coffee table book, and it was like trains and stuff to train you in the maintenance stand. And I remember you showing me. We went to visit Dred's nan when we last visited Dred. It was great.
When you last
lovely woman. As is nearly everybody's nan. That's the way, isn't it? You'd expect people's nans to be loved. Here's a cup of tea for you now. Sit yourself down there.
Yeah, kind of.
But Dreads was second to none.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm both amused and horrified that like I found one of me Bornas from back in the day that's on a 25mm base. The base is like 2006. It's nearly 20 years old, lads. Like, where's all the time gone? What happened?
You
know what I mean?
I've probably gone a bit too heavy with this patina, but stick with it. I'll go with it.
Seahorse 920 heavy duty protective dry box. Give me a look at that. Hold on.
I think one of my mates is actually watching that. I just got a message through from one of my mates. I think he's just noticed I'm wearing this jacket that he donated. Got a message through saying, "No, good to see someone wearing it." So I think he's watching. Yo, Julian, how you doing, bro?
Seahorse cases. How much it is? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I can see that all right. Yeah, they're like Pelican cases. They are, yeah. It's like $250 something. Not cheap. This transfer is expensive. Yeah, still got my old SLR cameras from the 80s, says Gary Hauser. Fair play to you. They must be all be film. That may be a dim or question. Key is saying science. The thing from the Addams Family is caressing Scar's head. Softer than that, Earl. Diddly-doo. 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 And copyright strike.
A little bit more patina added on there.
Oh yeah, that looks decent. I like that.
How
many hours do you reckon you've put into the train? Because like I was trying to calculate just in the last 3 weeks how many hours of painting assembly I did in the Stone Boys, and it was something stupid like 80 hours plus more. I spent like 4 or 5 days of my life straight in the last 3 weeks painting. Like even when I got back to Dames after the event, I was like sitting there going, having withdrawals. I should be painting something. I should be painting something. What's going on?
I've been really constantly just chipping away, but chipping away not at going hard, so it's hard to really say. Because I only really picked up that gas and go and started painting it like a few weeks ago. And I've been doing the odd bits on it as well as the odd bits on everything else. So it's really hard to calculate because I've been working across the board. I'm looking forward to focusing on one thing at a time again. I can't wait for that. But at the moment, I'm still in this stage of sort of chipping away at everything I've got going on at the moment to get it all to a finished stage and go, right, that's all done.
That's
Moving
awesome. Yeah.
But until I've done it all, I can't really say that. And I don't want to start anything else until I have. And I don't want to, do it an injustice by not doing a good job of things either. So,
Yeah, there is that sort of hesitation that I used to have of not painting stuff because I'm afraid of like messing it up.
Yeah.
If you get me.
Well, I'm getting things to a stage where I'm like, that's really good, and I'm really happy with that, and I can seal it. Because there will be things that I will want to come back to. I acknowledge that. Like there are some things where I'm going to like paint the lens of a light and go, do you know what? Once I've got my airbrush set up again, and once I've practiced with it a little bit, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to do some OSL on that, but I'm not going to do it just yet. That sort of thing.
Jesus Christ. Sorry. I found one of my oldest paints, and it's one of these bolter shell paint pots. And I just can't open it. I literally just can't open it.
They used to go down on something really tight though.
Okay. I think I need 2 sets of pliers to crack this open. Maybe
because they're a screw lid, and the plastic that it's screwed down on the actual pot was actually quite sharp. Even that thread was quite sharp for a plastic thread. They did used to really get themselves on there.
There's no budging this. Like it's welded on.
I was sitting in some warm water, maybe.
Yeah, probably the lid. Sit the lid in warm water. Anyway, worst case scenario, it's just a relic reminder of the old days.
That's Tim.
What?
There you are. I couldn't see you. I only won the screen. Fan at a time. I hadn't seen you pop up for ages. Thought you disappeared.
I was just concentrating. I am building big fuck off eye detailed chips for dystopian.
Oh, cool.
Oh, did you build them? You glued them together? Because some of them are resin and some of them are plastic, aren't they?
I decided to start with the resin ones because they seemed like the easy prospect, which tells you something about the scale I'm working in.
Easier than the What? That sounds odd.
No, it fucking doesn't. Give me a second to get one of these bloody...
Remember, Dim, we can't hear you too well when you're not near the microphone. So if you're saying, I think we've lost Dim to Dystopian War, sprues and rules.
Just, like, I took one look at this sprue and noted these tiny little legs that go on like a little sort of snake thing that's jumping out of the water, and I went, Jesus Christ. Because, yeah, you make ships from these sprues. I don't know how. I mean, fortunately, there's instructions. So
do you know what the scale modelers do to get like really thin parts off without snapping them? They actually use the Dremel with a circular saw bit on the sprue. So they're like circulars, because it's what happens is when you use a snips, it's the pressure that you do, like the whatever way the torsion works, that snaps the bit because the sprue's thicker than the bit. So if you use like a Dremel with a circular saw bit or a sanding disc or whatever, and actually cut the sprue on either end, you're not applying pressure then, and then you come back in and tidy. Then you can pick up tips everywhere.
Yeah, I'm really considering getting into those historicals, like I say, the ones that... So that's why I asked him if he paid any attention to the victory. Yeah. Because I am really considering it.
I like the sound of certain. So I've got my eye on some sort of fantasy rule sets, but I mean on not fantasy, historical rule sets, but on the whole, I tend to be more of a fantasy sci-fi sort of guy. I don't really like the historical. I don't ever want to bump into the person who goes, Why have you painted it like that? That is from the 7th Division, 64th Brigade. They weren't around until 1934. And, I mean, to be honest...
You're going to get that more so with Romans and Napoleonics. Whereas, I think with Dark Age, there's not enough known. It is open to interpretation a little bit more. And you can take things for granted, like leather and stuff like that,
Like the Picts, if you were doing a Pict army, you could pretty much, like, a lot of the art that's done of them is just open to interpretation. They don't actually really know what the Picts really
Your
look
force
like.
could be very easily hand-picked.
But there is, I mean, if you're a fan of archaeological programming anyway, and you watch it, then you'll see stuff in those things like where they do actually unearth a body or something, and they reconstruct their clothing, and you might go, do you know, I'm going to do that as on one of my models.
Cute time team nostalgia.
Yeah.
As soon as you said that, it's like the intro song just started playing internally. Oh, man,
I've been on about for ages doing the old Tony Robinson on the show at some point where I'm just I think it'd be a great thing for the audience. Well, not for the audience, just for a laugh. Even that sort of like, oh, so show me. Oh, what are you using there? Is that a paintbrush? Oh, awesome. Oh, so tell me about these orcs. Is it with a K? I just find that so funny. It's like the pretending you don't know shit and asking the dumb questions, even though everyone blatantly knows you know.
But yeah, he's asking on behalf of the audience. Yeah. Jesus, what a show!
They do that on so many TV shows. It's unreal.
Yeah, but Time Team was decent. You know what I mean?
I like Time Team.
Yeah, I love it.
Because I like
I
history.
find that
I'm a history
funny.
buff,
Like,
but I'm not
we all like
enough.
orcs, and then we all have like similar points of interest or similar things that we like from our childhood as well that line up. Like I find that amusing.
I don't think it's an accident, to be honest.
No. Okay.
There's certain things that drove us in those directions.
Well, Scrap Heap Challenge certainly being one of them, because any time.
All for the Americans, Junkyard Wars.
Yeah.
But you should, Americans, you should try and get a load of, see if you can catch some of the Scrap Heap Challenge, because genuinely feel we did it better than you guys. And
and
you'd get a kick out of it anyway.
Our guy that presented it was just cool as well,
Robert Llewellyn.
I like that. Yeah, he was cool.
Also Crichton in Red Dwarf. That's what he looks like without a mask.
My first introduction to Robert Llewellyn was Scrap Heap Challenge, because I'd never seen Red Dwarf before that.
It used to be on late nights on Channel 2.
This is when we go back in time when there was only 5 fucking channels or 7 channels on the TV or whatever.
4 channels. 4.
4 channels. See, I'm not as old as you cunts. Yous are as old as the bleeding hills. I'm not as old as the rivers.
Oh, me and Dim are only 3 days apart, aren't we, mate?
Yeah, 3 days. Just goes to show how evil time can be.
Yes.
There I get the sand pigments out while I'm live streaming. Yeah, fuck it, why not?
Why not? Okay. So much paint. Jesus, like I'm shell shocked here. I actually don't know what project to work on next. Now that I'm back home and the place is just a bleeding mess. I need to decide what to work on next. I think I need to finish on the Stone Boys and find me Born Obama. That's what me Born Boys and me Born Obama.
Listen, I think Junkyard Wars is really good, but
you're trying to say it's better
seriously,
than Scrap Heap Challenge?
Go watch some Scrap Heap Challenge.
Yeah,
just go watch them.
Go educate yourself.
If you have and you still prefer Junkyard Wars, fair, but
that's grand.
Check them out.
You're allowed to have bad taste.
I mean,
correct opinion. That's allowed.
Junkyard Wars does have Henry Rollins, which makes it pretty fucking cool. So he's a pretty good. He was a pretty good presenter for it. Yeah, you're dealing with heavy metal. You might as well have a heavy metal guy,
Scariest
shouting
Meg for
about
not
it.
watching Red Dwarf. Not watching Red Dwarf at the time. I have since watched Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
Smeghead.
Yeah.
And the Risk episode. You rolled a 6 and I rolled a 2. That's my book. Fucking all. That was hilarious.
Because was
Tommy
that,
Mac is saying
was
you get
that Meltdown? I think that was Meltdown, wasn't it? With the
episode?
Waxworks, yeah.
I'm trying to remember. It was an early one anyway.
Yeah.
Tommy Mac was saying you get a shit ton of minis for your money with Vicatrix. You do. There seems to be a load of them.
Mm.
And I think the ones in the box sets were like bigger scale, like 54 mil or something like that. Some of them, so they do different scales as well. So there's like the smaller scales, I think, in the plastic bags.
But the ones I looked at that I liked the look of were like our sort of scale, similar to 40k scale. And I was like, oh, I like that. That's cool.
Like 28, 25 mil, sort of.
Yeah, 28 mil or 32, whatever they are. They're really
Tommy
nice.
said he bought a Celtic chariot. So many decapitated heads. I mean, it's historically correct.
Nice.
Oh, that's the thing that I always found a bit, just to show that I can be that guy on the historical front. I always find it very weird that whenever GW does a rule set, like chariots are used as a very effective close combat unit. When, for the most part, chariots weren't used like that. They were transport. Or they were archer platforms. They weren't designed to be rammed into the enemy.
But yeah, you didn't charge headlong. You sort of skirmished with them around the flanks more.
Yeah. And I think even was it the Assyrians who had like the huge fucking fuck off 3-horse, 4-horse box with wheels. But even that was a shooting platform.
Mm.
It was just so bulky and armoured that it could run through infantry, but it was a line breaker. But I mean, like, if you play fantasy, that you just ram them into the opposing units. But if you play Warhammer Historical, it's a bad idea to do that. But you can't take the Celts off them either.
Your 4-horse Assyrian chariot, which was a box on wheels.
Oh, no pigments. No. There's that paint box there. Right, I need a creamy white. A creamy white, I tell you. I'm going to use aged white because that's a decent white.
And yes, Dyson, I did. It's interesting because basically the British lass behind sort of like the Junkyard Wars format was involved in Scrapheap. And she does the voiceover for some of the early Scrapheap Challenge stuff. I don't know if she did it after the fact. I think it became Lisa Rogers when she came into it, and she was like just a presenter.
Oh yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
But she was pretty good, and she was much more on the science end, so she didn't really like the presenting too much. But she also just went to America where there was more money, and brought the Junkyard Wars format to the US, where it was rife to be used. I mean, the Americans were always going to love that show. It was a great.
So it wasn't an American thing that came to us; it was a British thing that went to them, was it?
It often works that way, Dredd. Like, yeah,
okay.
I'm pretty sure the Scrapheap Challenge was first. I may be wrong.
Seems like there would be.
I think you're right. I think Scrapheap Challenge was first.
Yeah.
It does seem like something that's absolutely, like you say, made for the American market, though. I mean,
yes. They loved it, and Junkyard Wars was a big success. And it's a great show. I'm not denigrating it in any way. I just think Scrapheap's got a certain.
Yeah, but there's a lot of British shows that went to America and were much better when they were British shows. You know, The Office.
Like The Office, yeah.
Yeah,
but that's just because it doesn't have Ricky Gervais in it.
The US version of Shameless, I think, wasn't as good. I don't think it was as good. I mean, it's its own thing and it's unique, but I thought the British version of Shameless was better. But then it's always the case, like when a British show goes over to America, the budget's always fucking bigger, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I was saying Shameless, yeah, Shameless isn't I personally, I don't think it was as good as the UK version. Gary Hauser saying, play as a Pictish army, paint them all blue. But they did multicolours, were they, the Picts? They were like heavily tattooed and different colours and stuff. I don't know. I don't know a lot about the Picts. I don't think there's a lot known about the Picts, is there?
More so about the Picts than the Celts that were there. Well, it depends because the Picts as a name was carried over later on. So even when Saxons were in England, the people north of the wall were still being called Picts. So
we get a lot of our knowledge of tribes like the Picts from contemporary sources who were writing shit down. And some of those sources were quite prone to bullshit. Hello, Herodotus.
The Romans. Yes, and their unbiased opinions.
Yeah. Herodotus wrote a load of bullshit, including actually the first speech of Scottish defiance, which he entirely made up.
Well, you know what I find amusing as well? Like the magnum opus that apparently Alexander said, it's like nobody knows what he actually said.
Mm-hmm.
Like his speech to his men.
Yeah.
But there is a magnum opus, like there is a speech written down, but that's not like nobody knows what he said. Sorry, I just knocked it.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what he fucking said because they didn't write it down. Like.
Yeah.
Tommy Macker saying Vicatrix just released early Saxon unarmored warriors, 28mm hard plastic, 46 models for 36.60, helmeted heads, 30 bare heads. I mean, you can't like I've seen the Vicatrix stuff. It doesn't look too bad either. Like it looks all right. And if you're paying a quid something for the miniatures, that's fucking brilliant. Because I was only giving out like about the Death Copters, €32 or £32 bought at a discount, 40 quid normally.
The Vitrix
over the
look
tenner
very kit bashable as well. They're very posable kit bashable, like more so than the old boys kit.
Sorry, I'm still disgusted. Over the tenner for a fucking Death Copter. Are you taking the fucking piss, lads?
I mean, yes.
Come on, for fuck's sakes. Why, I did be shocked and horrified. Anytime I go back onto GW store and look at the price of things, I'm like, when did this become like 20 quid more expensive than my brain thinks it is? Like, it's just every time. It's hilarious. So if I say nonsense, Tim, Herodotus speaks the truth. I have seen giant ants.
I've seen giant ants recently. Man, there's a load of them invaded this country just lately. So, like ants used to be like when you was a kid, they're just like little tweeny little ants. I was collecting some litter up the road, just literally on the curbside up the road. And twice, like once under a radio, and they all come flooding out of this radio that picked up, and once out of this out of a energy drink can with these massive, really thick black ants. Like I'm talking like 4 times the body mass of a normal ant. They were really thick and really black, like super black.
Bit your head off, didn't they, Dread?
The normal ants are more of a sort of like a reddy black, like a brownie. These were properly black. I was like, I've never seen ants like that before. I should have taken a picture. Didn't think to do that. I was too busy trying to not have them all over me.
They're only ants, you'd be grand.
Don't know what sort of ants they are. I've not encountered them before. They could be some kind of dodgy ants. You don't know. If you don't know, you best stay away. You know what I mean?
Don't like the look of them ants.
Yeah, you don't like that.
Oh, mate, you got lighter.
Same way of a spider you've never seen before. If you've never seen one of them before, you're like, okay, what's that one? Watch out. What is that?
What was I saw in me rhubarb? I saw, what was it, the weird looking ladybug? They're called, they're black with red spots instead of red with black spots, and it's an invasive species. I'm like, chimeras or something they're called, or something like that.
They're saying like 20 or 25 different ladybirds, and some of them are called lady beetles.
No, I looked it up after the fact, and it was like it's an invasive species from China, which makes sense because rhubarb originates from China. So, like, you'd find them there.
Did you kill it?
No, of course not. I'm not a cruel bollocks.
Ah, it's an invasive species.
True, but
You
then
probably
or
just
grey squirrels, but you don't see me going
let
around.
out the, you probably let out the window thinking you're doing a good turn, and literally all the local ecosystem collapsed that
Collapses
day
because
after.
Skarnir didn't kill one fucking ladybug.
Exactly.
Of course, Dread. Yeah.
Bastard, yeah.
How
Harlequin bug.
will I ever sleep at night again?
I is saying Harlequin bug, and he's correct. It's a Harlequin bug.
The Harlequin bug, is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right.
Mac is saying we have the Pictish Trail up here in the Highlands. We visit all the carved stones from village to village. The furthest north we've got, that is the Warbosses, is Hadrian's Wall. And
Yeah.
we've only gone as far as the Romany bits. We haven't gone any further north yet.
Well, they've seen that. We put it in an episode, didn't we? So some people have seen it.
We did. We put in an episode.
I got mocked for taking so much effort to edit the nice scenery.
No, it wasn't mocked about your editing. It was using B-roll footage for non-B-roll shots with me saying, sure, it's grand, it's B-roll, lads. I was like, for fuck's sake. But no, you did a grand job, Liam.
Yeah.
You know? I think we should, it'd be cool to do another, like, historical thing. But if we did it as, like, if we did it kind of in the same sort of structure of, like, the historical shows we used to watch, you know what I mean? Where you do the voiceovers and you do a bit of research, and it's like with what do you mean, Dread, like we went to Rochester Castle again, like that'd be cool to just like, you know, pan the camera around and Dread's looking over the balcony or whatever and blah blah blah, and you're talking about Rochester and blah, 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 you know what I mean? So tell us a bit about the castle, Dread. Well, or even get an expert to talk to us.
I've actually really
and we act like gobshites and know nothing. Honestly, we're only acting. We know fucking nothing. You know what I mean?
Oh, do you mean so we avoid like embarrassing situations, like telling Kaiser from Modelling for Advantage that we'd done some hot historical content, and then immediately regretting telling Kaiser from Modelling for Advantage that we'd done some historical content, because he would go back and watch it and see that it was mostly knob gags.
Hey, hey, hold on. That is historically accurate for Vinderland. The amount of fucking phalluses either in lead or carved on stone or on fucking statues was like, Jesus, the Romans loved a good fucking knob joke. They really did.
So either way, I sold him a fallacy.
Hey, you're a bollocks.
Yeah. Correct.
I did. That's the thing I noticed actually when I went to Greece when I was like 15. It's like there's so many statues that are erotic, and so many like so much of ancient art was very erotic. They were mad into it.
You can blame Catholicism for the reason why we're all prudes. Decent Snoggin is saying ladybugs don't bite, Chinese lady beetles do. I actually did have a ladybug try and chew through my hand once. It was back in my airport days. And the poor thing had been jet blasted, so half cooked, and it was just spazzing out and landed on my hand. And I was like, oh, look, a ladybug. And then it was just like, trying to. But they can't cut through our flesh. They can just irritate us. Bless them.
Bless them for trying.
I do like the fact that it is sounding exactly like that scene from Fifth Element. You know, and get the flamethrowers out to get the weird fur balls out of the engine parts. Sounding a lot like that.
Oh yeah, well yeah, aircraft jet blast the bugs all the time. I got stung in the back of the neck by a wasp because of that. Because they'll get hit by the jet blast and just go into angry mode, you know. And I was like, you wouldn't mind taking the barb out of the back of my neck for me, would you? Grand, thanks. I think it was a bee then. It wouldn't have been a wasp. Wasps don't leave their barbs.
Submarine.
So if I was saying, my brain thought of a Beatles tribute band made of Chinese ladies. Your mind wanders to strange places, sci-fi. It really does. Fair play to you.
Mm-hmm.
So are you gonna start and doing historical stuff, Dread? Is that your jam? That's what you're feeling at the moment, eh?
I'm thinking, yeah. I mean, I've always, even when I first got into Warhammer, it was that I had an interest in history, and I've always had an interest in history, and I've always liked the idea of building an army of, you know, historical figures, but I just never really thought there was much of a thing about it. And then I got into this, and then I got carried away with this, and I never really wanted to put my attention anywhere else. But because of the shenanigans that GW's been up to, I don't want to invest so much of my time and so much of my loyalty into a company like that. So although I'm going to continue with my orcs, I want to spread my hobby time as you've done a little bit more and be a little bit more, well, a little less loyal, basically, because I don't feel like GW have earned or deserve my loyalty. So I'm going to sort of put my time, and it's not just loyalty. I mean, you've got to think you're putting a lot of not just money investment, but time investment, and that is the most precious thing you have is your time into something. If they're going to keep switching and changing it around, then you might decide that, you know what, actually.
Validating it, yeah. Well, this is the thing I've realised is I am now a filthy 40k casual. And the problem with being a casual player and not playing that often is the game changes an awful lot. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's any investment time-wise you put into learning the rules or learning the game is not worth it in my eyes because it's time spent, but it's not time banked. Like if you like, I'm always going to lean back to BattleTech, but if we play BattleTech and I teach us how to play BattleTech, you'll know how to play BattleTech 5 years from now. You know what I mean? Whereas that's not the case with 40k. 5 years from now, we'll be 3 editions later, and God knows what state the game will be in. So I just feel myself personally that time invested in the gaming aspect of it just isn't worth it. Now, the hobby aspect of like building up the miniatures that I already own and converting them and building teams and stuff like that, that's fun. I like that. I still like that. I don't think there'll ever be a time where I don't like it, you know? But gaming wise, yeah, I'm a filthy 40k casual when it comes to the gaming side of it.
I don't know whose video it was I saw. It was just the other day, yesterday, I think. Someone put a video out about having spent a couple of years painting up an orc army. No, not even an orc army, actually. It was actually
an Age of Sigmar army, was it? I think I saw that video.
Yeah, an Age of Sigmar army, that's it.
I saw that recently myself, yeah.
Stormcast or whatever. It's just like, this is my army. I spent a lot of time building it and painting it and making it my own and blah, blah. And they took out everything that's just been invalidated. And it's just like this. Yeah, you still enjoyed it. You still learnt a lot. But I'm totally on board with that whole sentiment. It's like, yeah, still love what I did. I still learnt a lot and it's great and blah, blah. But to invalidate all of that, yeah, I can get over it. But it does mean that I'm not willing to do that again. I'm not willing to put that sort of investment in it again if I know that it stands on such shaky ground, because it did seem like there was, as someone else also said, I think it was that Dana said, that there is a GW promise. There is an unwritten promise, and that is, been slidden away from beneath you. So therefore, you're less inclined to want to invest your time. Because, it's a risk, I
have to say, GW were a terrible investment. Like, if you're new, then you're going to get something out of it that is valuable. But if you're long in the tooth, and it's starting to dawn on me why so many sort of like second ed and third ed vintage sort of gamers that I used to know and used to hang out with and used to game with back in the day when third and fourth were a thing and second were a thing, they're all historical gamers now, and of course they are.
Well, I think
they pick a rule set and they stick with it, and if a new edition of that rule set comes out, they don't bother updating because they've already got the rule set.
My can's empty, I need a refill.
Where it's easy to do that, and I think that's, to my money, would be the suggestion that I would make to the GW people is that, you know how people say, oh, nobody's forcing you to buy GW stuff. Well, it's just like, why do we allow GW to force us to update? Just get to a point where you're happy and stick with it. Find a group of people who are happy in the same spot, and stop bothering. Stop throwing money at them. And I definitely feel, particularly after the actual fiasco that this codex has been, which, to be honest, actually depresses me because there's bits of it I like, which I don't often say these days. But it's just been such a fiasco. I think it's just highlighting to me that the codex format particularly is dead, but also just just the turnover of rules. Like I finding out I found out last week that Age of Sigmar is going to be on its 4th edition.
Yeah,
And people are still trying to tell to me that makes sense. It fucking doesn't.
When did Age of Sigmar come out? 2014, 2015?
Yeah. D&D. D and fucking D. The tabletop game is just going into its 6th. You cannot be on your 4th already. You cannot be.
This is a part of like answering your question to me, Dwayne, is that it is also the fact that the rules with GW change so often, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I want to play older rules, or I want to play different rules, or one-page rules, and that. And part of the struggle with that is, can I really get other people to play with me?
I think you can. I think you can with your mates.
I think you can with your mates, but the struggle is that in something like that, where there's a dominant rule set that most people are into, then most people are going to try and insist you play that. So I think it's a part of the realization in me that in something like historicals, if I buy myself a bunch of Saxon warriors and I build a Saxon warband, then the chances are that the rule set that I play against someone might differ every single time I play someone, because people will play different rules, and I will probably try out a few different rules and find one I like, and I might even tweak it myself, or I might even write my own rule set. But you'll come to basically be the person that turns up with both armies and a table or whatever, and says, here's a game, here's how you play. It's got to be something that you can teach people fairly quick, but I think it really could be. And you just go, would you like to have a game? And it will just be like that, you know?
That is how you do introductory games. That like, if you want to get a game started and nobody else is playing it in your area, you need to promote it. You need to be putting more effort into it than just showing up and expecting a game. This is the thing I've learned with BattleTech, is you need to have 2 forces and you need to have everything ready, fully painted, looks awesome. People come over, oh, what's this? Oh, it's this game I'm playing. I'll teach you how to play it. That's how you do it. And the thing I find, and this is nothing against you, but there's an awful lot of wargamers who piss and fucking moan about there being no other games in their area, and they do nothing about it. They don't bother their bollocks. They complain about it and moan about, oh, nobody else plays anything else. Nobody. Have you put the effort in? Have you bothered? Have you tried to create an online community? Have you created a page for the game you're interested in? Have you, like, this is what we did. We started a Facebook group for BattleTech. We printed off posters and put them in local model shops, local comic stores, local gaming stores. We found out like somewhere to play locally as well. You have to put effort in. And if you're not willing to put the effort in, it's going to sound like a dickhead opinion, but if you're not willing to put the effort in, you're not entitled to fucking piss them on about nobody playing the game that you want to play, because you haven't bothered your bollocks. So look, it might be a dickhead opinion, but if you're not putting the effort in, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no, that's fair, I think.
I mean, just lead by example, basically.
Everyone wants someone else to do the hard work, is what I'm finding. Everybody wants to play a campaign game, but nobody wants to actually sit down and run the campaign. You know what I mean? Everyone wants a wargaming club to start in the local area, but doesn't want to start it themselves. Everyone wants to play a wargame that's not perceived to be not that popular. And like, the thing that does my fucking tits in is, oh, I like this game, but nobody else plays it. I'm like, you're like the 4th person to say this to me in 2 weeks. Have you clowns not fucking got your shit together and started? The amount of people I've heard in Ireland say that nobody else plays bolt action is ridiculous. I'm like, lads, sort your shit out. Like, come on. You know what I mean? But that happens because once you start to network and build, people realize, oh shit, you only live a few world hours down there. I didn't know you played this game. Lo and behold, there's hobbyists, put the effort in. Yeah. Put the fucking effort in. I feel like going around slapping people in the bleeding head now to motivate them.
I'll say another thing, right, just on this subject, is if you don't want to abandon 40k, like, you don't have to, right? Because you can take all of this attitude and you can just apply it there. one of the things I was thinking whilst I was playing the games, I actually really enjoyed playing the games, and I enjoyed BattleTech. BattleTech. I enjoyed BattleShock, like I knew that I would. I also enjoyed BattleTech when me and Scar played when we got back. But like, I enjoyed the BattleShock mechanics. I think they're quite good. I think that's probably the best morale system GW's had.
But the fact that you lose your objective secured, I like that. That's
I didn't just say had in a while. I said had. I think that's the best system they've come up with. It's bare bones as fuck. The thing that disappoints me is that in the 4 days that I spent playing 40k, I came up with some interesting ways to play around with that that I would like to make into rules. And it's just like, if I did that in 4 days, why is it this bare bones? Like, I found it quite disappointing. Hopefully in sort of future editions they'll stick with it and they'll play with it and not just reinvent the fucking wheel like I'm expecting them to.
I think that's the downside to 40k. I think that if they kept refining the better aspects of 40k, that they'd have a pretty fucking solid war game by now.
That's why people need to stop buying codexes and stop buying rulebooks.
But they don't. They keep, like, this is like the fucking third reset that I've... So I joined in 3rd edition. That was a reset. 8th edition was a reset. 10th edition has been a reset. It's like, what the actual fuck are you doing? Like, it's not the same war game.
No.
It's the problem.
They don't even... I don't think they even know what it is anymore. They're just kind of like trying to find.
Well, it's detrimental. Like, the amount of change now is literally detrimental to them, because I'm hearing a fair few people. Now, I have to take into account that I would be talking to more established wargamers who would have a more skewed opinion in regards to rules because they've experienced more than one rule set and, you know, that sort of thing. So I'm taking that into account. But most of the conversations I'm having with gamers my age and then, you know, the young fellas and whatever else, it's changing too much. It's changing way too much for people. And that's totally understandable. You can't expect people to be totally invested in one war game all the time. You know what I mean? Especially if you're a casual player. Like, I can't keep up with the fucking points changes or the rules changes, and I'm at the stage now where I just don't give a rat's ass. Like, I don't care. I don't care about points changes.
It's following that live service model.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's churning at such a regular interval that you have to constantly pay attention to it to be even somewhat in the loop. And the fact that, like, the rules have gone disparate into each codex, like, trying to then pay attention to every codex to be current and be on a competitive level. Like, fuck me, that's more effort than me bleeding job. Like, Christ on a bicycle. I wouldn't be bothered. You're mad. You're fucking mad. Oh, me missus would bleed and kill me. Like, I really talk to her as it is. Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, I like...
Some people probably love that and are happy to go full investment and all in. Fair play to them. If that's what you're into, that's what you're into. But for me, no. I want wargaming to be that I can play 2 or 3 systems on a casual basis if I want. And that if the system doesn't constantly churn and change, then I will invest more of myself into it because I know that investment will pay dividends over time. I don't want to overinvest my time and effort into a wargaming system and it's gone after 2 years.
Yeah. That's why I dumped AOS. I dumped AOS in 2nd Ed because the churn was just so frequent. And
like the last codex. I think I read the last Ork codex like once or twice. I'm trying to think. We played their game under it, didn't we?
Was there a codex in 9th? Because I didn't get one if there was.
Yeah.
Well, I think the 9th, the one with the fucking Squig Hog Riders box set. That was the last one.
Oh, it was the 8th. All right, I got that one, yeah.
Was that 8th? See, I don't even know anymore. Fuck.
Was 8?
No, that was the. I'm pretty sure that was the 9th one, to be honest.
No, it was 8.
No, that was the 9th one.
With the Squig Hogs, it was 8.
Pretty sure that was the 9th one.
It was 8.
To the Googles.
But they've definitely done. They definitely did a 9th one as well, because they changed how Gaz worked in 9th.
So they might have done an update, but I don't think there was another codex. If there was, I didn't get it. Oh, there might have been. But the Squig Hogs box with the Squig Hog.
Yeah, the Squig Hog box was 9th edition.
Was it 9th? No way.
Told you.
Yeah.
So what did you get with the 8th for Orcs?
Not much.
Oh, the buggies. It was the
Yeah.
buggies, wasn't it?
Ninth was the Squig Hog one, and what was 8th? 8th edition Orc Codex, I think, was just a reskinning. Yes, all right. So remember, 8th edition was the reskinning of the 7th edition codexes, but they just put like a frame around them, so they literally look the same.
Oh, the picture was,
Yeah, the picture was the same. Like, yeah. So I can understand.
It's easy to forget because they are on the whole these days very forgettable books. To be honest.
Oh yeah, there's
the 8 was it? It was the 8th Ed Codex that brought in the clans.
Well, Steve, I said there's a chance that the law he hasn't learned it yet, but there's a chance that the law isn't copy paste this time.
Well, here's the thing, right? Is that like I was never against the copy paste of the law because it was like if you keep putting the good bits back in all the time and introducing them to new players, but it's like the main bits that you need to tell the orcs, you don't want that to change too much because that's what you use in the codex for. The codex is the vector by which you sell the sort of faction to the players. But here's the thing: if it's always the same thing, why do we keep needing to have a codex? Because it's like the law, and like the main thing that everybody's going to say is, "Well, we want those new formations," and it's like, yeah, that's why they came up with the formations in the first place to justify continuing to sell you the codex.
Underhanded way to get you to try and buy the codex.
Yeah, exactly.
I was convinced this time around, when we were playing and using data cards, and I knew the formation that we were using. What was it? The one with the exploding sixes? The
War Tribe, I think.
The War Tribe. I was like, these data cards are great because you have everything in front of you. So, like, why would you bother your bollocks to buy a codex? But then, of course, it doesn't. The data cards don't have all of the formations, but the codex does. I'm like, oh, well, okay. But personally, I don't see the point. If I was actively playing the game, I wouldn't see value in the codex myself. I just with the data cards.
We've got Sid in the chat. Sid,
oh, Sid in the
you bought the data cards. You've probably looked through them.
You bought both.
Do you get the new formations in the data cards?
I think you get one. I think I read the back of it. I think you get one.
Oh yeah, that was a question we was posing the other day, wasn't it?
Yeah, if you get all of them, I'll eat humble pie.
If you get all of them, I wouldn't bother with the codex personally.
Just get the data cards are better. Like that's where they should be going.
They're so handy, man.
Yeah.
They're so handy to just have in front of you, and you're like, okay, this unit. Well, there's the stats for it there. Like because the game stats have changed so much as well. I'm like, I don't even know what anything does anymore. My first few games were just relearning the game. It's like, oh, well, okay, don't do that again. Do this instead. We see more games are saying no.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I knew that already. Well, I suspected that already. But yeah, because that's the inducement to get you to get the codex.
Yeah, but it's not much of an inducement when you know that you're going to be able to get them online for free. Like, so why fucking bother, man?
Well, yeah, exactly. But I don't think anyone should buy the codex. I think.
No, not bother me, Hal.
A message to
not bother.
If
you want to use the official app, I understand. Buy the codex, you'll get a code for it or whatever.
Yeah, but even the app, like the app should be fucking free. Like,
it should be.
But like,
Drunken Orc said he looked and looked and looked again, but no, weak shit.
Oh no, Sid did. Sid said that.
So Sid had a look at them, and it's just the one formation, isn't it? And I think it's the one that we had previously, or I could be wrong.
But like, I just think like the codex format's done. Like it's done. It's a dead.
We don't need it anymore. We don't even need a rule book anymore.
Yeah. But I mean, like, maybe I'm just kind of biased because I'm playing other games where I experienced this. But like,
this is a symptom of the wrong.
I played Drop Zone Commander a lot, and all of that is online. But you don't pay for it; you just get it. You're paying for the miniatures.
Listen,
right? Did you constantly tell you that you're a miniature company? But who sells more rules than Games Workshop? Games Workshop sells more rules than fucking Fantasy Flight and Wizards of the Coast. Right. Name any RPG. Any amount of expansions that come out for that RPG pale in comparison to the amount of books that you're expected to buy to play 40k over the same period of time. Like it's ludicrous. I jacked in AOS partly because I was sick of constantly buying army books.
Ah, yeah, there's that. They're not. So you know what? If you were looking to collect codexes, wait until the new codex comes out and employ the previous edition for the pittance that they are. If you thought cards devalued when you bought them new, boy Jesus, real books and codexes for 40k aren't worth the paper they're bleeding written on once they're out of date.
Yeah.
That'll tell you the true value of them. Fucking hell, man. City saying he couldn't see any, though. The old data cards did have the War Tribe. I think so, anyway. Yeah, no, I wasn't too sure. I thought maybe the Orc data cards had the War Tribe on them. I could be wrong.
But did you?
I think it's reasonable to hope so, but yeah.
Go on. We'll go. I'll go onto the Warhammer store here, and I'll see how much they're charging. €25, lads.
Is that how much the codex is?
No, that's the data cards
That's
in
for the
euros.
data cards. I got hopeful for a minute.
25 quid take.
One army rule card and 51 orc cards.
And that's another thing. Like they've charged you for a set of cards to use your miniatures, right? Twice in the space of less than 2 years, right?
Yeah.
At about £20+ a pop each time.
So there isn't even a formation card in it.
And
it's
all they've done is reduce their own workload because they've eliminated a load of units they need to write rules for.
The index ones were cheaper, man. The index ones were way cheaper than that. They were like 12 quid or something.
Yeah, they were cheaper. They were way cheaper.
Why are they that expensive all of a sudden?
Well, because they're the official rules that thou must take.
It's the GW price. As soon as it has settled in on it, like, come on, measuring tapes are a bleeding tenner. Come on, the fuck, like, come on.
Yeah, but the index were official. They were nice and cheap. So why are these cards so expensive? They're the same thing.
Are you trying to find logic in GW's pricing structure, Dread? Because good fucking look at that.
No, I'm not. But I am. I
get your point.
This is a real indicator of, a real prime example of that piss poor fucking pricing structure, isn't it?
Go on, how many euros do they want off me for an Orc Codex?
Oh my God.
Bleeding hilarious. Come on, let's have a look.
Sid's just dropped a bomb, which is that the old data cards had the War Tribe. The new data cards have no detachment rules, just the rules for the War. So they're twice the price and less rules again. And bearing in mind that there's now units that have been culled from the Codex as well, so they're missing too. It's less data cards. Why does it cost more? Like, what the fuck are you guys paying for at this point? I tell you what, you're not paying for is good design.
Jesus fucking wept! Holy fuck! Classic Orc Dreadnought. They want €60 for it. What?
On the metal one. Is that the metal?
I don't know what the fuck they're smoking in GWHQ, but boy,
that's the third ed one, isn't it?
That's the fucking third ed. Fucking Christ. Oh.
Might have been interested, but I'm less
it's
so.
Like, hello, Mr. Metal Dread. Well, apparently you're worth €60 now. Oh, fucking who would have known? And I only just found 3 of them in my bit straw.
Yeah, I'll say they're going for the eBay prices, aren't they?
Oh, man, I could make 50 quid a pop, no bother. Classic Orc Knobs, €44. They want 50 quid for 7 of the Classic Commandos. What fucking planet are these lads?
How much are the 5 knobs?
5 knobs are €45. Jesus. I think I bought that box set new in the third ed art
15
style
quid. They were
for
15
like
quid.
Score. I think I bought it for £20, £25 like a good few years ago now.
They were 15
shocking.
when they first came out. Sure.
They want €45 for the standard Orc Codex. They want €80 for the collector's edition codex, which is sold out online. What the actual fuck is going on? What madness is this? What heresy?
I don't know what to say. Genuinely.
Because I really wanted to buy those knobs. I never had them. I've always wanted
They're
them.
Queen pounds, though. You lads get it cheaper, right? Remember that.
Cheaper rate than you, yeah.
So shout out to our FLGS to give their 20% discount. Fair play to them. Instead of paying 40 quid for Def Copters, I paid 32. And even then I was like, a Def Copter, 10 quid a fucking Jesus wet. But yeah, no, that's a shout out to the model shop in
Northeast Model Centre, it's called.
Northeast Model Centre. Fucking great hobby store. I'm super jealous you bastards have
it's a fucking model store.
Store. Only thing I'm not happy about is they don't have any AK acrylic paints, but otherwise, that's okay. I have my local hobbies. No, they didn't have them. They don't have them. They have like nearly, they've like Vallejo, they have
Vallejo,
Army
paint.
paint.
I didn't realise
they've loads of like fucking Humbrol, Tamiya, MiG paints. But they didn't have the AK acrylics. They had like GW paints.
They have some AK stuff, but it's very limited. Like they've got.
It must be very limited. They don't have a rack of it. Like
they've got the.
Otherwise, it would have been like, ooh, that
you
one.
can get like the AK primer stuff because they're.
Yeah. You can get the generic stuff, but you can't like walk up to the rack and get like the AK acrylics that I fucking bought into it like a mad hitter. I'm very fond of them now. I am very fond.
Yeah, I use quite a few AK paints. So.
BC was saying I was hoping it would be the cardboard dread from that box set. Yeah, and they'd probably charge you a fucking score for it.
Yeah, you want it,
but
you don't want the price they're going to charge you for it.
They definitely would try and charge you 20 quid for a cardboard stomper now.
They probably would. Decent is saying, we first thought when Dim said that Sid just dropped a bomb. I'm glad smell is not transmitted digitally. Fucking.
I mean, to be honest, in this meet, the real
wasn't as bad as the last time. I don't know what cocktail of food we had the last time. I think there was more alcohol consumed the last time because that was relentless. Holy Jesus! It was like a septic tank was burst fucking open.
Well, I mean,
this time it was alright. It was alright. It was mostly musical.
The alcohol was necessary to get through waiting for Dredd to finish his fucking turn. The mega battle. Look, Dredd was mercifully a lot quicker when we played the
I have to say, fair play to him. It wasn't as bad as the mega battle. He's nothing if not consistent. Bless him. I mean, he's a cheating bastard, but we won't get into that. We'll wait for the battle report. But he's grand. Remember, Dredd, we're not allowed to talk about it yet.
Yeah.
So if we were saying £15 for metal knobs when released. Ooh.
Yeah, I did say 15.
I should take back a metal knobs box and shrink wrap and demand a refund at today's prices. Yeah, you'd fucking make a small fortune.
Oh, just so fucking.
Chris Clark was saying, what year was that though? It's factor inflation, probably a GW simp. Listen, mate. If you factor inflation in, I sat down and did it before, but if you factor inflation in with the price increases, GW's price increases are higher than inflation.
Do you know what never factors inflation in? Wages.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
I had more money to throw at the hobby, like, to get more things over a pace of time when I had pocket money than I do now.
This is the thing that I'm shocked and horrified.
If I take that same amount of money and I apply it to other games in the industry, I can get way more for that money. Which is what. But
I don't understand. I really don't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't understand how kids my age when I join into the hobby are able to afford to start into the hobby. Because if I even think about...
It's changed the social class, because I was very working class.
Yeah, same here.
Working parents.
And
I was able to...
Working class family, working class.
I was able to get quite a decent amount of stuff, to be honest, to take part in this hobby. I think if I was the age I was then now, I would struggle to even start the hobby.
Yeah, definitely.
With the same money coming in.
Oh, there's no way I'd be in this hobby nowadays as a kid on what we was on. No way.
Because I think
Because
the
I
thing I
wouldn't
started
even
to
be able to.
notice,
I wouldn't be able to consider it.
the thing I started to notice is that an awful lot of the people who were in the hobby the second time I jumped into it, sort of like late, sort of mid sixth, early seventh and eighth. When I jumped back into that, I was noticing a lot of the people in the Games Workshops, a lot of the kids were middle class kids, very middle class kids, and well, they have more money to throw at it, or at least they did then. I don't know who GW's audience is now, but it's not people like me anymore. Long since gone. Like, I can occasionally justify buying the odd thing. Like I felt physical pain buying a what's it called, a Neurolictor. I think it's a Neurolictor.
Oh Jesus, we were
And
looking at that.
that was 25 quid before discount
Who
for
bought that?
one
Though?
miniature.
Was that you?
Yeah, that was me. I bought that.
Right. Okay. So I'm looking at a inflation calculator for euros. Okay. This will tell you the difference in price. I bought the Assault on Black Reach box set for €40 in 2008. The equivalent price of that now is €49.34. There is absolutely no way you get the Assault on Black Reach box set for €49.34 off of them today.
I mean, fuck, when they did that third edition box set pack, right, which a few people argued was in line with inflation, because the box set was originally 40 quid, I think.
But the Assault on Black Reach box set was originally 40 quid when it came out, and I remember literally 6 months later they put 20 quid on top of it. So that inflation, that price increase alone is higher than the inflation from 2008 to now. The forced price increase they made on that box set is greater than the inflation from 2008 until now. Like, that's just like
batshit insane, especially for like molds that they've already paid for themselves.
Oh,
Probably
yeah.
2 or 3 times over.
Like this whole thing of like wanting Blood X Commandos online only. They're seeing that Second Ed is having a resurgence and being popular with people. They're wanting €50 for 6 fucking metal commandos that were sculpted and made back in the 90s. Would you just fuck off? For fuck's sakes, lads.
I'm not buying those alt knobs. I want them. I
have them already.
I want
This is
them
the
for my
beautiful
third
thing
Ork
for
army.
me.
I'm not buying them. I'm not buying them
This
at
is
that
the
price.
beautiful thing for me. In the early teenage 2000s, I went mad and bought loads of this shit for dirt cheap when nobody was interested. I have a fucking metric ton of multi-part plastic, metal and plastic Stone Boys. I just have to find them again. I know they're around here somewhere. But that Death Thread, of about 5 of him, those Blood Axe Commandos, I have them already. So what? 5 times 60. Oh, there you go. I just saved myself 300 quid by buying loads of them back in the fucking day. Do you know what I mean? I think of 9 or 12 of the killer cans of the same era. Loads of them. Fucking loads of them. This is ridiculous, lads. And if anybody tells you that GW keeps up with inflation, they're lying, folks. Jeez, I'm getting very aggro. You're talking money now. You just have me said, fucking man, George.
It's a very common sort of apologist hand wave, and they count on one thing, which is that the people who they're talking to at the time are not looking at like stats for inflation prices at that point in time. But also the other thing about the 40 that third edition box I was talking about is that like that wasn't even the full box set, because the box set had terrain and dice and a rulebook and cheat sheets and like measuring sticks and shit, and all you got when you paid that 60 quid for that third edition nostalgia hike thing was the old Space Marines, that 1 land speeder, and 20 Dark Eldar, which isn't even half of what was in the starter box.
Here, let me say it. Sid was saying, yes, Gar, do the prices in Great British pounds, not Lucky Charm tokens. Fucking cheeky. All right, so what will we say? We'll look at inflation. Will be for the inflation calculator Great Britain. I'll have a look. Cost in March 2024. We go back to, I think it was June 2008, the box set came out. And I think it was £35. It wasn't the same as Euros. It was 2008. I think it cost you guys £45 for the Assault on Blackreach box set.
Just remember.
And cost in, well, it only goes up to March 2024. Let's see what it would be. All right, so the equivalent of, well, hold on, £35. So £35 then would be the equivalent of £54.95 now. The Assault on Blackreach set when it first came out. What do you get for £54.95 now? Fucking nothing.
Not a Metal Death Dread.
not even a metal. Well, that's in euros now. We'll look at Queen pounds because apparently fucking euro tokens don't count. Maybe you might get a Metal Death Dread because these are special. You get a slightly cheaper price for the great or good. Would you go out that? And another thing, their fucking online shop is fucking shocking. Sweet mother of Jesus. Trying to fucking buy anything. New and exclusive. What's new and exclusive? Oh, scroll. Come on. What can we find? £45, right? For the new Metal Death Dread. There you go. Jesus. So what? 20% off if you go to a second-hand retailer. So you're looking at what? £4.50 is 10%. Knock £9 off of that. Oh, it's made to order and online only. Oh, sorry about that, lads. No third party, no independent retailer discount then. Straight to GW only. They love you that much.
Mm.
I enjoy playing the game with my friends, but I am not bothered to be as invested as I used to be. And I can see why. Because I'd be fucking heartbroken, the price of this stuff. Here, buy a book. It'll be out of date in about a year. Like, how old is 10th edition now? A year? About a year old? Is it?
Not quite.
The new old Metal Death Dread. Give him mail scare, says this one. Jesus, I'm fucking, if you got me on the warpath now, lads. I came in here with a fucking cheery disposition and now I'm tearing lumps out of the bastards.
I've been keeping quiet.
Filthy casual. Yep. I am a filthy casual. Death Copters are £40. The Warboss was about £18 until recently pulled. Not much. And Assault Blackreach box. But this is it. I think this is the point we were getting at. It was like the price of kids getting into it now. It's like the box sets were really good value back in the day. Like I remember, all right, the very first big box that I got. So there was there was 3 boxes that got me into the hobby. I got the Warhammer Fantasy 5th edition starter paint set, which had 6 battalion archers in it, a brush, and I think like 9 paints or something. And then I got like a box set of Knights of the Realm, which was 2 knights in a box set. My stepfather bought them for me. That's what started me in the hobby. The next thing that I bought myself for €20 was the 5th edition Warhammer Fantasy box set because they had a sale on, and they had Games Workshop used to have sales. They had a sale on, and they had a clearance sale because the next edition was coming out, so they were clearing the boxes. I got the box set for €20. You'll never get that off them now. They used to do sales, for Christ's sakes. Like,
yeah.
In fact, I remember when you could go in and buy the rule book and there'd be a sticker on it. There'd be a sticker on the rule book. New edition coming out soon. Buy this one and return and redeem it for a new rule book. Do you think they do that now? Would they? Fuck, the hungry cunts. I think he's going to have to edit this one after the fact.
No, leave it.
You got no Steve-O to keep on top of you.
Yeah, usually it's not me going off, but I don't know what's happened. The nerve has been hit, and I'm like, the dirty bastard.
Yeah, it's the pricing, but yeah. Anyway, moving on. Oh,
No, let's stick with this.
no, you didn't love it, didn't you?
Look, I like war games that you can get. I was actually interested to try Dystopia Wars, which you did. So the next time I visit, I'd like you to
Teacher. Yeah.
teach me how to play it, and we'll have a bash.
Well,
I mean, it might be 4 years from now. Hopefully our track record's improved over X-Wing. You know what I mean? But we'll get there in the end. But I'd like to try Dystopia Wars. It looks interesting. I like ship combat. Catalyst Games Labs also have a few of their own games that they develop. So BattleTech is a licensed product that they run. Tops owns the license. But one of the products that they develop themselves is called Leviathans, which is basically like, think World War One ships with anti-gravity stuff, and it's basically like ship.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
It's really good. I will be at UK Games Expo as part of the Catalyst demo team, teaching people how to play Leviathans. So if you're going to the UK Games Expo next month or whenever it is, it's the end of May, start of June. It's soon. If you're over there, come over to the Catalyst Games booth and say hello. And I'll teach you how to play Leviathans for free if you want. There'll also be BattleTech there and Shadowrun and a myriad of Catalyst board games. So yeah, that'll be fun. I've never been to UK Games Expo. Have you? Either of you guys been?
No.
No.
Well, I've never been myself, so.
I haven't even been to Salute.
Oh, I've been to Salute once when I lived in London. I used to live right beside the Expo Centre. And I was there. I lived in London for about 3 years nearly, and I missed the other two, but I managed to get to one. Salute was cool because Salute for me was the first time I've seen like 6,000 or 7,000 wargamers in the one space. There's participation games you could play in. Forge World ran a store there back when they still existed. And there's loads of little retailers as well. So you have little retailers and producers with all their metal miniatures. Mantic were there, Warlord were there. There was loads of bits and pieces. It was great. As a wargamer, it was great. I met Spud there for Chill of Wargamers.
Yeah.
It was the first time I met him. I met a few people. It was good fun. I should go to Salute as well. The problem you have is like the accommodation in London is fucking extortionate, like, you know, and it's a 1 day trip. So it's only a 1 day event.
Yeah.
So it's an awful heavy investment for a 1 day trip, but it's usually in April, so I think it's just happened. Salute. So we missed it, but might be fun checking that out one of the years or something. You know, Warbosses do a grand tour of conventions. What else did I do? I did Essen Spiel last year with Catalyst as a demo agent. That was fucking nuts. Holy shit, man. Like 5 days. I think it was around 194,000 people, and just the halls, board games. Everyone was there, man. Games Workshop were there. Fucking loads of them. Loads, like any board. It's like loads of board games. War games. There was guys from like paints. There was Chinese companies that come over to talk with companies to do trade, like, and they'd show you. They'd have like the metal dies or they're casting and examples of miniatures that they made. So it was the whole industry, like, and card manufacturers and guys doing Kickstarters and stuff, like everything. It's huge, man. I was like, holy shit. And you'd have event-only exclusive stuff. You know what I mean? That's how Dim ended up with his Star Wars Throne Room box set. I grabbed it from while I was there.
Yeah.
There's loads of.
Play some more Legion again. I did enjoy it when
I've never played Legion. I've not dabbled with Legion.
It's like 40k. It's not remotely balanced, but it's fun.
Jesus.
And you can make themeless. I mean, these days you can run an Ewok army.
Ewok army.
Yeah. Or you can just add a squad of Ewoks into your Rebel army, which is also fun. Which does remind me, my one thing that the meat did do was it got my rules module flowing. So I
noticed that you started writing rules.
Yeah, I don't want to make any undue promises, but like I've been calling for ages for GW to do like a freebooters codex, and it's never going to come. And also, I don't want a freebooters codex because I don't want codexes anymore. But I thought about the idea of doing like a free extra data sheets faction book where you can run them as a dedicated army with their own sort of formation benefits, special upgrades and things, or you can add individual data sheets in as mercenary units and freebooters. So I'm working on some freebooter rules for 10th. So,
I should team up with Sluggers and Shooters. He did the like community edition of a load of data cards, and I even contacted him about doing like an Imperial Advisor with Ogre and Bodyguard.
because I think this is the core way to kind of fight back against all this legendization and stuff, is to go, well, do you
Just
know
make
what?
the game your own. Yeah, just make your game your
We
own.
should write our own rules. Fuck them. Like,
Exactly.
like
Oh.
we should tweak stuff. Like I'm thinking about doing tweaks to Battleshock as well, because I think it doesn't do enough. I really like it.
PC is saying, Scar, you should pick up some cheap Aeronautica stuff for your Airwa. Play it on the side as a corollary to your Battlefleet Gothic ground invasion campaign idea. Yeah, but that stuff wasn't cheap either. I remember it being like 40 or 50 quid for 2 fucking bombers. Like, Dread, what was the box set you bought in like the Dungeons and Donuts place? And it cost an arm and a leg, because we did it on your video, didn't we?
Mm.
And I was like, how much?
That's it. Mm. I can't remember how much it was. It was expensive.
I think it was like 40 or 50 quid. Because you were talking about it and then they ordered it in. So then you were like, oh shit, I have to buy it off them now.
Just mentioning this offhand, but I hear rumors that there are some content creators out there who make something called an STL, who do things catered at the Epic audience. And Epic is a game I hear had aircraft in it. I'm not mentioning that for any particular reason, of course. It's just a coincidence.
So now what? I'd actually make stuff out for Epic scale myself. Be easy enough. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be too large. So small projects that you could get done. I think it's doable, like, you know what I mean? I also think it's about time somebody probably wrapped this show up, what with it being 11:30 or just after 11:30. Not that I'm saying me going on the fucking rampage isn't great crack, because I'm enjoying myself now, but, poor Steve-O will probably chew the bleeding ear off me tomorrow. It's like, I watched that back stream, mother of Christ.
Should have been on it, dickhead. Should have been on it.
I was well behaved.
No, you fucking weren't. You're
This
as
is
bad
a
as
bad
me.
sign. It's a bad sign when Dredd was the sensible one.
Yeah.
Who was the culprit? Was it him? No, Scar was on the rampage.
Put it down to jet lag or something.
I'm still buzzing, man. That's what it is. I've come off the aircraft and I've just landed and I'm still in holiday mode. So I've still got that hype. You know what I mean? That gaming hype, being around your mates and having a laugh and, having a good time. So I've got that enthusiasm in me.
But yeah, I did enjoy the games. I want to emphasize, I did enjoy the games. And
Do you know what I really enjoyed? Playing Blood Bowl with Clint. That was great
Yes.
crack. We only got to play one half, but that was fun. And then getting a game in with you as well, Tim. I know I beat the ever-living shit out of your Shambling Undead, and I was a dirty bastard and throwing fells in and everything. But that was great crack, that. I love that.
That's what happens when you play against orcs. In a couple of the
When you
matchups,
boast
I
that
think
your undead team's never been beaten, I'm like, well, I'm going to physically beat you with the now.
it's taught me a valuable lesson, which is to never paint my miniatures, because unpainted they were fucking stomping everybody, and now that I've took the effort out to get good.
That is not the lesson.
These boils were unstoppable.
Not the
Not
lesson.
anymore. That'd be fun. I think it'd be fun to do like Blood Bowl, like if we had orcs and Blood Bowl and stuff on the channel or whatever. You know what I mean? I know we're 40k orcs. We'll always be 40k orcs. We'll always do 40k orc things, but like doing other little bits and pieces would be fun. No?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think that there was talk of Gorkamorka. I will say that is currently slightly up in the air, because I think we were all feeling a bit of fatigue because we did do a lot of games.
Well, see, we had a conversation on the drive to the airport. I think we should actually start the Ork Warbosses games before the next meet.
Yeah.
So, like, if the northern tribes play each other, so if me, Sid, or Dim play against each other, and then the southern tribes play against each other, Dread, Steve-O, and Clint, if they all get a game in against each other, then when we do the meet, you only need to play 3 games then. I'd only have to play against Dread, Steve-O, and Clint. And then the same for the other lads.
Or as I was thinking, we give our like our mobs some character with those introductory games to get some experience, to get some quirks, to get some injuries going, frankly.
Yeah,
and
well, you'll have time to convert them up as well. Like.
And then when we turn up for the actual meet, we only play 1. And I'm actually thinking about I'm trying to sculpt up. I'm trying to write up a game where all 6 of us are on the same game.
Yeah, like a grand finale game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, grand finale. I think that's the way to go. If we each did like 3 games of Ork Warbosses and a grand finale game, that gives us like a space to do other stuff.
Yeah.
And chill.
The grand finale should be the chasing the big war rig thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Thanks for giving the game away, Dread, but yes, that's the plan.
That would be cool.
I mean, granted, I was desperately trying to hold my piss, so I'm not going to be too mad at you, because I would have probably eventually hinted at it. But, yeah. Think Mad Max 2, people.
Well, we did on the live stream just the other night, so yeah, it's not like I'm...
Did we? I can't remember.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
okay, fair enough.
At this stage, I honestly can't. But again, I shall request wrapping up of the live stream because it is now getting closer to midnight, gents, and it is a school night tomorrow.
2
yeah.
minutes to midnight. Sorry.
Okay, let's go. Let's
Dim.
wrap it up. Enough said from Dread.
Learn
Don't
from my
forget to drill
mistakes.
your barrels. Don't forget to drill your barrels.
Bye. Who's streaming? It's me, isn't it? Fuck.
Oh, God.
What shit show have I fucking joined? What the heck?